San Francisco shot continue to surge with the clean sweep of the Dallas field. We'll see the boys once again on Friday when they face off against the Philadelphia Fusion. But we got our last match of the night. The Seoul Dynasty are getting ready to take on the Shanghai Dragons. And there are a lot of people in the room who feel like this is going to be the one for Shanghai. I was asking you guys. They believe it. They believe it in their hearts. Now, the Seoul Dynasty, they've gotten off to a bit of a rocky start, more rocky than we expected them to. So they're going to be looking to stabilize themselves with this match and, you know, put out their dominance. They want to show everybody that they are still the dominant team that we know them as. As for the Shanghai Dragons, as you can see, their lineup is new. It's a completely new revamped roster from what we saw in stage 1. And they've actually been improving. If you have not seen the improvement, you're fronting. They've gotten a lot better. So guys, it's the last match of the night. Get hyped, and let's go ahead and send this on over to Golden Boy at the desk.
Thank you so much, Malik. I agree. If you don't see that improvement, why you be fronting? That's all I'm saying. All right, I'm your host, Golden Boy. Got Brent, got Crumbs. We're gonna be breaking down this game right now. It's our final match of the night. We have the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty. Now, Crumbs, Seoul Dynasty, they like to do give us some different looks in these matchups against the Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah, they like to give away wins too. So when they play against the Shanghai Dragons, they never field their full lineup, and it happens again today. So when they face against Dragons, both times it's been a 3-1, and they have not had their full-on A-team. And today, we're not going to see that either. So Jae-Hong and Zumba will not be in the starting lineup, and so I expect this one to be a little bit closer than expected. It might even be closer than last 2 times because now Shanghai has all these additions. And here's a little fun fact. There's only 2 teams in the league that have not 4-0'd the Shanghai Dragons. The first one we just saw play earlier today, the Dallas Fuel, and the second one, the Seoul Dynasty. So these 2 teams, you don't really want to be in that boat. It's the one that you want to dock that one and get out of there.
Okay, I like the boat reference. I always appreciate a good, bad joke.
You're a big fan of boating? Is that
a big fan. I'm a big boating fan. Okay, well, Brent, the Shanghai Dragons, they have been steadily improving. I mean, this is something that I think everyone across the Overwatch community has taken note of since the additions of their new players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in particular, we're going to be looking at, Ado and Gaguri, because these guys, they've been slamming it home with some of these plays they've been kicking off. Again, big bombs, big blades coming out from them to try and really secure the deal. Again, Dragons, just to reiterate the same point, they are improving steadily. And, I mean, it's only going to be a matter of time before one team does underestimate them and they start to slide in and secure that win.
I'll give you the analogy to make reference of it. So it's as if you had a bicycle marathon, and then all of a sudden, to a guy in last place, his tire breaks.
He's already
He's already in the ditch, so yeah, he's got to put the wheel back on and pedal all the way back. So you're already at a disadvantage, but
lots of
you'll
vehicle
catch up. You'll catch up there.
What is going on?
Lots of
Are you talking about a triathlon?
Yes.
References with vehicles.
Again, I don't do any physical activity, so I wouldn't know.
We can
about
tell.
that.
It's obvious.
Look at this. Look at these arms. These arms have
What about
absolutely...
the skin color? Is there
Bro.
even sun? Have you seen sun?
Yeah, listen, I don't go
you don't got
outside.
these gains, baby. You don't got these gains. Anyway, moving forward. So, let's just move on here because we ran the numbers. We ran the numbers. With the Valiant win today, if Shanghai loses, today they are statistically eliminated from the postseason. So will the Seoul Dynasty be the one in 1-24?
All I'm saying is, listen, Twitch chat, I don't care where you are, you got to be giving your energy to Shanghai Dragons this game. Listen, everyone's rooting
like
for
this.
Shanghai Dragons. You know what? They're going to give the energy.
If belief was enough, Heaven's Gate would have gone wildly different.
Okay,
right?
Listen, I know you're a logical guy, Crumbs, but
you didn't get that reference. You
I
should
did
Google
not.
that
I have
later.
no idea what the hell you're talking about most of the time.
Let's put a pencil on it. Let's put a pin in it. I don't even know what a pencil, but let's put a pin on it. Okay, and welcome to the stage. I got 2 pens here. Your first team, we got the Shanghai Dragons. Let's bring them out. Let's bring them out. Give them some love, people. Because they're currently sitting at 0-24, 0-4 in stage 3.
London wins.
You're good. I mean, yeah, they're sitting at 0-24, and they got to get the win today. And I firmly believe that there is potential there. I'm not going to go as far as making a prediction, but all I'm going to say is this is a team that, once again, they are improving with the addition of Fearless, with the addition of Ado, Gaguri. They are making plays happen. They've got Deer in the mix as well. They haven't had him before. But again, these are fan favorites. Everyone wants to see Shanghai Dragons take the win today.
Their biggest challenge is simultaneously catching up in Overwatch and learning to communicate with each other. So right now, the lineup is half Chinese and half Korean, and they're going to be communicating in Chinese. So they have to be taking these lessons and learning. And frankly, it's a very tough, or like, how can you expect these guys to do this? And if they can actually get a win, I think it'll speak more volumes than any other team's wins, because there's not other players that are learning the hardest language in the world and also professional Overwatch while living overseas, while being like a teenager. That's not something that everybody gets to do.
You're not sounding like a Shanghai Dragons fan here, mate. Come on.
Hey, I have empathy. I have some empathy.
Of course, you are human.
I'm just saying, it is, I do agree with Crumbs. It is a very difficult challenge to be had, because I could barely even speak English, so I totally understand what's going on over on that stage. But now let's go ahead and welcome to the stage their opponents. It is the Seoul Dynasty. Now the Dynasty sitting at 16-8 overall, 2-2 during stage 3. This team coming out with their quote-unquote B team.
Yeah, I mean, and even that is a bit of a stretch, because essentially the guys on Seoul are all very talented, and they are still running Munchkin, they're still running Flutter, they've got some of their best DPS players in the lineup, they're just alongside a few different players. And, you know, despite the fact that Seoul have been slumping a little bit recently, they haven't been performing on the high level that we were expecting to in the league, they are still pretty high up in the overall standings. They still have a very reasonable chance of making the playoffs, but this, you know, I would like to start to see them, you know, turning up a little bit more, performing a little bit better in these games, because they are slipping away a lot of games that are a little bit too easy for them, and that could be an opening for Shanghai Dragons today to take the win.
Well, remember when we first saw Seoul in the league, it was a matter of Leda is the meta. Whatever Seoul is doing is what we have to follow. The Jaehong strats, whatever they were bringing to the table, teams were trying to emulate. So that's where they were 3 stages ago. Now they're here, so that's why we want to see them get back to that form. We have such high expectations out of this team.
Yeah, a very talented squad, the Seoul Dynasty. I mean, I always say it, you know, you're not going to call yourself Dynasty if you ain't going to be getting those W's. So much respect to this squad here. Let's see how they fare. But now it's time to get into our matchup. Shanghai Dragons, Seoul Dynasty. But I want everyone in this arena, get those Sour Patch Kids Thunder Sticks up in the air. Come on, let's make it happen. Let's make some noise for our casters. We got Uber and Mr. X. Take it away, fellas.
Thank you very much. No matter what, Golden Boy, just remember, London Spitfire wins.
They're somewhere, and they've won.
That's it. Well, I think that they could use it right now.
Dude, the guys on Seoul were laughing hysterically. They were like,
Miro walked in and perfect English goes, "What the heck is going on?"
and they're like, let's go London. They ran out there. But look, I think this we say it all the time with Shanghai. Maybe this is the one. I think this one can be a close game. Every time they have played, Shanghai has been able to win a map. I remember the one that we cast in stage 1. Shanghai was able to win a game on Dorado towards the end of that series. They won a game in their matchup in stage 2.
It was actually one of the most bizarre games of Overwatch I've watched. I think that Shanghai played really well and Seoul definitely below their level, but there was some weird interactions there. So I'm hoping for some clean, crisp, spicy Overwatch, man. That's what I want to see.
Look, Seoul, they're playing some players who haven't seen a lot of run thus far in stage 3. Guido in the lineup instead of Jaehong, Toby. We've seen a lot of Gambler here in stage 3.
Yes.
And you have Zephyr in for Zunba. We have seen a lot of Zephyr though, because Zunba has been hurt. You know, had a little bit of an injury, but it's a little bit of a different lineup for Seoul Dynasty. Shanghai, I think this is their best lineup. This is going to be their go-to lineup as we get deeper into stage 3. As you see Flutta setting up there in the low ground, he's probably going to go up towards the high ground, and they're going to need that Widowmaker of Dia to be really good here on point A. It's really a lot about these Widowmaker battles where you get around that middle hut and you have that sight line towards the high ground.
We've seen some pretty impressive pulse bombs today already from Nevix in the previous match. Gregory as well brought some incredible Diva ult usage last week. We're hoping to see that repeated here. And Freefield has been performing much better than when he first started in the Overwatch League. He's turned into a really serviceable, flex support player. Now the Shanghai Dragons will make the standard approach here. Look for Dia to try and open up with a first pick that can be capitalized upon.
I kind of got a chuckle out of that Guido lower third though. You know, his stats like much better against the Dragons, I guess, compared to other opponents. The one other match I can think of is when they played him against London and got 4-0'd in stage 1, I think.
Yes, well, the stats speak for themselves there. Notice that Toby, of course, and Guido were staying fairly hidden in that lower room, less to Dia. pluck their heads from their shoulders. See the barrier thrown down, that's a Dragon's barrier, so Dia can fire through that one and get a bit of free damage.
Outside of the Los Angeles teams, I think we have more Dragons fans than any other side. And Geguri was able to take out Munchkin, now get rezzed up. They do lose Dia to the hands of Fleta. Some progress being made here on the point though, as 5king will get the res off. It's gonna be a pulse bomb from Otto, who sticks on Amiro. There's no main tank here for Seoul.
God, they really needed that one. Now they're going to follow it up here with Free Fill and the Transcendence. They've got all the tools they need. Munchkin and Zephyr are still sitting up on the point, but Fearless is causing problems for the backline up on high. Guido's knocked down. He can't climb back up. He needs to be pocketed now by Toby on the point. He eventually will fall. Zephyr not far behind. Geguri finds him. Must be some venom behind that kill, Matt. And there's Toby to fall finally as Shanghai move up to the point.
Looks like they're going to be able to take point A here, Mitch. You're going to have to build up towards your support ults yet again. Did have Toby use Valkyrie. Guido about halfway to Transcendence. Fleta will go off of Widowmaker. He'll play Genji here. So you want to put a lot of pressure onto Dia. Dia's going to gain all that information, though, for the rest of his teammates. So he uses the Infocyte.
Fleta switches to the Genji here. Dia can see Munchkin off to the left-hand side, so hopefully the entirety of the Dragons would have been aware of his positioning. Very helpful to know where the Trace is going to be before the fight starts, but Dia could be in deep trouble. He is being pocketed. That should be enough to keep him alive through the Primal Rage hits. But Dia has to break line of sight and stay out of the picture for a while as that self-destruct goes down. A lot of defensive ultimates being thrown in here. As Geguri found nothing with hers.
5king gains a ton of ultimate charge, though. So he's going to use Valkyrie. It'll be a pulse bomb again from Otto. Lands it on the Zephyr. But it's going to be Zephyr using that self-destruct. Gets both tanks of the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai will be forced to back out. And I've been impressed a little bit at what we've seen from Otto on Tracer at the beginning of this game. His Genji has impressed me, his Tracer not as much, but they need his Tracer to be good because Dia is a very successful Widowmaker player.
That's right, God forbid that Dia would, sort of have to forego the Widow and play Tracer as good as he is at it. He will forego it here though, interestingly now. Yeah, okay, so this is the switch. Dia now is going to get to play that Tracer, like you mentioned. This will mean that Otto will play the Genji. We don't really know if Otto's much of a Widow aficionado. The intimation is probably not. So now they're going full dive, and I respect this, respect the play. But Fleta's very close to the Dragon Blade, so he will definitely be king of the ninja roost, so to speak. At least for the beginning of this fight. Right now it's just poking though, Matt, as the Dragons are setting up. And you can see the Soul aren't really giving him a chance to, rest. Constantly they're taking damage, constantly they're harassing. Now the pressure's really going to start to kick up a notch with the Transcendence used on the low ground.
It's going to be a Dragon Blade that comes out from Fleta, just trying to get onto Free Field. Free Field just throwing orbs. Not really much else he could do. It'll be a deflect kill from Fleta. They did end up using Transcendence here as well. So 5king's going to have, a decent advantage in terms of charging up to that Valkyrie. Maybe you get Valkyrie and your own Dragon Blade before you get a support ult on the side of Soul, and you can put together a pretty good attack. I mean, we know what Otto can do with those Dragon Blades, right?
I mean, very proficient. We saw their match against the San Francisco Shock featured an incredibly large amount of Dragon Blades and some impressive play from both Otto and Dante, respectively. Munchkin would like to position himself behind. It's an easier flank. He's always wanting to try and go the back way, and he found Free Field. 5king's on the low ground and wouldn't have had anyone in line of sight to Guardian Angel to from that angle, so he was done anyway. Fearless dives on, tries to get himself that mega health. Looks like he was not able to do so.
And that's the one thing that is carried over from the old Shanghai Dragons, I would say, into the new one, is that they just cannot, whether it's the supports out of position or just miscommunication, they have not been able to protect these supports that much. The Shanghai support staff towards the bottom should not be ideal in the league in deaths per 10 minutes. They're dying quite frequently, pretty easy dive targets.
Fragile, perhaps, more so than other backlines. See what Munchkin has now. A pulse pop to deliver this one. Yeah, he's seen Free Fall. He's isolated. Free Fall can't even get in now. Interesting that Munchkin pulls a recall instead of hanging around and trying to finish off the Zenyatta, but he wants to return to the main fight itself. Otto makes quick work of Zephyr as he gets ejected from the mech. It's a Dragon Blade, but Fleta drops in. Shurikens. It's his weapon of choice. It's all he needs to claim that kill, and he saves the Dragon Blade for a rainy day. Miro comes down. Not exactly water droplets, but falling in a similar manner. Trying to get onto the back line. Munchkin brought back into the fight. 5king down. Another fight for the Dragons will fizzle and fade.
It's a really nice Primal Rage from Miro. It allows Toby to get all the way until the choke. to res Munchkin back up. Then Munchkin on Tracer able to do some damage in the Shanghai backline. Dia will play Soldier 76 and Otto will play Tracer now. So you're gonna try and get the high ground, I guess, and bait this dive in. I don't know if that's how I would go up on Shanghai.
I always feel like switching to Soldier 76 on attack on a map like this is almost, it's an admission that they don't really know what to do.
If you're so worried about the dive and you're using 76 as almost like a dive target and then trying to pick off some of these flankers, why not just play McCree then?
Or even, you know, mate, you can even play Reaper on the attacker. You can even just sit him on your tank line and try and take space. But the 76 gets, like, his effectiveness is limited so heavily by shields and especially defense matrices, of which Zephyr has provided many over the course of this match. But here's your Transcendence from the Shanghai Dragons. Clearly they've been tempted into using it. Slutty goes for the Dragon Blade. This is strange, given they've already lost Zephyr in this fight. Perhaps they wanted a little bit more to push them over the edge, and Fleta is always going to deliver.
Yeah, I mean, Fearless did a nice job with Otto getting into the Seoul Dynasty backline, but the Transcendence comes out. But when you use the Transcendence and Fleta still has that blade, he's going to make you pay for it.
With blood.
I mean, Shanghai's first attack was great. Since then, we haven't seen much, right?
Well, it was great, yeah, onto that first point. Unfortunately, this second point is much harder to take. It's a much longer distance or more difficult to get into the backline. Attackers don't have as good high ground options, and Widow doesn't have as good sidelines, really. It's very easy to dive defensively, and you can see that's what Seoul want to do. Look at that. They don't know he's there. He's just chilling. He's like Batman dropping down. Free feels removed by the pulse bomb. Someone call Afrid. Fleta's out of control. Get him back in the Batcave. Someone restrain him. He's been removed by Guido here, and it will be another full-scale rout from the Dragons, who once again are tamed.
They've had to reset so many times that they come back in, they don't have anything in terms of ultimate advantage. Fleta and Munchkin pushing them all the way back until their spawn. Only 19 seconds left here. You will have attack visor, but not much good when Zephyr has his mech, as Matrix lead a lot of that up.
Not good. Should probably switch to the 76 isn't exactly going to give them any options anyway. Dia just got mashed there. Boiled, stuck in a stew, and now it's going to be free field trying to stay alive. And Miro, it's a very lazy swipe of the fist. Just the back of the knuckles to get the job done. Oh, Guido, nicely done. Ado there trying to dodge and duck. Not going to be enough. The Shanghai Dragons come up without taking point B on this map.
Very good on point A.
Just not seeming to know how to proceed when they hit a brick wall. There's nothing special about the Seoul Dynasty's defensive comp. They weren't reinventing the wheel. But maybe Dragons need to reinvent their approach here, because switching off the Widowmaker, they had a Genji Tracer. They didn't like the Genji in that comp. They want a 76, and 76 is flexible, Matt. He does a lot of things really well, especially for his age. He must be doing some yoga or something. Problem is that he's very easily shut down.
Yeah. I think it's...
He's not great at anyone.
It's really telling how Shanghai is able to make things work when they can play around Dia's Widowmaker and they can play in space. It's creating space and being the aggressor of the teams. That's where I think you're seeing them struggle. Like right there, they were never able to make it past the choke. And, sometimes they would get to the choke and just sit there, so to speak. I mean, they wouldn't even really try and push in.
Dia has no kills. So, no final blows.
Final blows.
Final blows. Well, come on. Same thing, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Eliminations are assists. We want to make it seem like everyone gets an award, but let's be honest. There's some kills and there's assists. So, I mean, tough for him as a Widowmaker player not having any final blows. That means you definitely struggle to make an impact. And it says a lot, actually, about how the Dragons managed to take point A without Widow picks being a factor.
Yeah, I mean, he does put down 20% of overall team damage, but to put that in perspective, you can't even really, right? Because you don't know what actually happened after point B, because Fearless right now sits at 23% of team damage for number one, probably just because the sole fact that he's the only one alive for significant amounts of time.
I'll give you this. Dia has a decent amount of damage, about what you'd expect. No kills. He has 7% critical hit accuracy. Your boy is body shotting.
Not ideal.
He's body shotting like it's a college after party, mate. It's going to be Seoul Dynasty on the attacking side now. Trying to reverse this nice and quickly. We've got 3 minutes and 50 to hit that first point. Again, Dia will be on that Widowmaker. Miro just sort of waltzed. Okay, this is very confident. He's just waltzed onto the point here. He's being pocketed by Toby the whole time. So Shanghai need to dive on this in some manner. Okay, they've done that. Fearless dropped in. Gegari's also there. No kills from that. And now Fleta will transition to this side. Now, it's unlikely the Dragons expect this, but now Fled has given himself away by missing that shot. Oh, okay, I thought he picked up the Widow. Still finds Fearless though, there's your pick.
Well, 5 King can't cross to do much of anything at that point when Flood is in that position. So now you're forced all the way to this back corner. You see Flood just crouching, trying to stay alive as this will be a fast first point take here for Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, not much to be said there. Again, the opening pick from the Widowmaker is good. Shanghai Dragons took point A, but didn't have that available to them. You can see how much easier it is when you just remove an enemy from the fight. So first point, Seoul will gladly take that. And they'll march on.
Dia will play McCree here. So playing this is interesting. We don't really see these combo too often. Okay, now we're gonna switch off McCree. Okay, now we're gonna make a lot of changes. So for a second there, it looked like they were gonna run McCree Genji, which you never really see teams run. They're going to run Dia on Tracer Auto on Genji. This is what you normally see, but Fleta will stay on Widowmaker. Let's see how Seoul plays around their Widowmaker here to try and create some space for Fleta.
Well, Munchkin is just sort of pulling a couple players or attempting to pull some players out. But look at Zephyr, he's just sitting on the point. Miro drops in now with the Primal Rage, so he'll be able to be the gatekeeper essentially. He sees Free Phil wants to get in. Now, just slaps him back a little bit, jumps up, makes sure he can get healing while he's airborne. Here's the Transcendence coming in for the Shanghai Dragons, close. One for Seoul as well. Self-destruct on the point for Zephyr. This is going to force the Dragons away. Dia steps back on as soon as he's able. Giddo down to Otto here. And you can see that Free Phil wasn't able to do anything. Zephyr covered him with a defense matrix the entire time, and it's easy as that. Seoul Dynasty, map 1 goes to them.
And Fearless has to chase Fleta all the way in the back to the choke. Never actually kills him during that. So that's the effect of having a Widowmaker there who's hitting shots on point B. Forces the main tank or the off tank from the opposing team to push all the way out. They're not able to stay on the point. Seoul Dynasty's able to take it.
Seoul Dynasty, you can see they can sort of take a fairly standard approach in a lot of these maps. We're not seeing anything overly set play-wise. Work picks, communicate, create space, hit Q, slash a bunch of people up. Simple as you like. We'll see you after the break for map number 2.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
guy has 42% of the Shanghai Dragons' final blows. This guy's nuts.
서울에서 그 오버워치 많은 오버워치에 관한 경기장을 보러 다니면서 프로의 꿈을 꿨던 것 같습니다.
Ado was unreal, to be honest, throughout this entire game.
팀에 온 지 별로 안 됐지만 팀원들과 많이 소통하려고 노력합니다. 예를 들어 숙소에 가서 조금 진지하게 상황에 들어온 데에 대한 문제점을 이야기하거나 그런 점들을 좀 이야기하고 합니다.
Ado's going to follow up. Harry Hook falls to a swift strike. Mickey in a second and a third. The Dragon Blade is brought to bear.
제가 게임하면서 제일 좋아했던 야식은 아마 음료수 같은 부분이 좀 많이 좋아합니다. 그 음료수를 가장 많이 먹는 것 같아요.
Well, Matt, credit where it's due. For a man who loves his soft drinks, the guy's actually got pretty good teeth.
Hey, gotta lay off those soft drinks.
Yo, Troutman's stealing my lines, by the way. I see you out there. Much ado about Ado. So, I mean, this player specifically, we've seen make a big impact when he comes in on the Genji. He has had very good performances. I referenced the shock game prior. But when he has to switch over to the Tracer, we've seen he maybe not be as effective or not hugely impactful in some of these matches.
His Dragon Blade is very good when he plays Genji. He picks up a ton of kills with it usually. His Tracer has not been as spot on. Like, it has its moments, but it hasn't really been consistent. And the issue is, I mean, look, Dia played that Widowmaker there out of Volskaya. Wasn't great. I mean, he finishes, 11 deaths, highest on the team. So they're not able to really get much of anything going. I know, my eyesight's pretty bad. But you compare that to Fleta. Obviously, it's a blowout, but Fleta with 27 limbs, 14 final blows. The Shanghai DPS duo puts together 6 as a total. I thought Geggery, though, had a pretty good game. Their deaths were very low. Had a decent amount of kill contributions, considering how many kills Shanghai got. I think with Shanghai, you're just looking for small wins, right? Small little victories in the game. You may not see a win necessarily today, but I think they are moving in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's a matter of managing expectations, Matt. It's clear to see that there's much work to be done on this team. And we talked about it. I mean, I feel like communication and sort of things like language barriers and stuff like that have actually been a real big topic lately, and seeing how teams have sort of worked around them. We talked earlier today about Bishu and how much value he has to the Gladiators because he can provide translations midway through because he's bilingual, and also obviously clearly big brain if he can actually translate and play well at the same time, which he clearly seems to do.
It's hard enough to get comms right when you're speaking the same language.
Oh, I mean, yes, I know.
Let alone speaking multiple languages.
It's like when we stack, playing with like Brent Sideshow, me and you, and get wires crossed all the time, and we're apparently speaking the same language. Right. So the Dragons will be on the attack this time around. We'll have a look at the setup here for Seoul Dynasty when we chat about that briefly. Reinhardt on this first point, not super uncommon, but we definitely see a lot of Winston defensively speaking. Don't always see a lot of Miro on this pick.
It would tell me that they want to protect Fleta, stay near the high ground, kind of bait Shanghai into these dives. They'll let Fleta, they'll do some damage on McCree. Whether he's set up all the way in that back high ground where you see him on now, but they can play Miro down on the point. Obviously, you can swing his hammer, get a ton of ult charge out of that. And then they can just kind of pocket him from the high ground, right? I mean, Toby can just use his Mercy Beam down on the ground, just heal him up.
All right, Shanghai, escape it! Out of the gates here. And they're going to see starting with the Tracer and Genji combination. So again, full dive. This puts Dia on his arguably best hero. Definitely puts Ado on his. From a team who used to be, or who we used to consider to be very reluctant to engage. Now dive is one of their best looks. Followed up with Geggery and Fearless, of course.
At least watching them last week, I thought Geggery's play, Otto, and Dia's were their brightest spots. As you see, Fearless just goes in a little bit too deep. Geggery not there in position. 5 King maybe speeds up a little bit too fast. And they're not able to do a Fleta. Fleta's just in the back there, has protection from his Diva and Reinhardt. Able to pick up both kills. Freefield just standing around by the statue. He gets his head peeled off there by Fleta as well. So Fleta will contribute to 3 kills in that first fight, already building up close to that Deadeye, but you need to get those timings down if you're Shanghai. If you're going to commit to this dive composition, this is what you want to go with and work on. It's got to be a little cleaner than that.
I agree. Like, your timing's commit. Look, the fact is, Seoul Dynasty doesn't have like an incredible disengaged composition, and they can't really back up.
No
that far.
disengage.
No. So what they're trying to do, though, they are trying to keep Shanghai at arm's length and get free damage like this. Shanghai need to sort themselves out and quickly get this dive down. Hit a backline, hit a McCree. This is good. Find Fletter. Geggery pressure down. That's what we're looking for. First pick. Fearless does drop, so they have to trade out, but it's probably worth it to remove such high damage capability. Now, though, is when we start to see them bleed players. Shanghai lost Dia there, and Fletter's brought back to life. So you have a small window where Fletter is still dead to sort of try and press that man advantage, but unfortunately, Shanghai not able to do so in this case.
Obviously, McCree, a little bit of a slower hero. It's going to take him a while to get back. He finally does make it that back, though, before Shanghai can get another push. Otto does have Dragon Blade. Both support ults available for Seoul Dynasty. So you need to see Shanghai figure out a way to force these ultimates out, put pressure on the backline, get some of these ults out early. It's something we don't see from them that often. Nice defense matrix there from Geggery. Eats up that pulse bomb.
Fletter would like to flank for a Deadeye. This could be nasty. He'll have him with one. He'll take one. He won't get any of them. In fact, great response. Good peel from Geggery. Comes back. Defense matrix to cover Fletter. Put him in a cone of silence. And now they're going to follow up. This is what we needed to see before. And this time it was because Seoul made an overextension. A big mistake to send Fletter around the back. Shanghai were on a hair trigger. Perfect response. Now they need to work on the point, though. Losing Otto. Slight overextension from the Genji. They've got a couple players set up on the point. Zephyr with the self-destruct. Munchkin tries to get in, but it's cut down by Freefield again. As Zenyatta vastly improved over the course of the Overwatch League so far. Guido and Fletter are approaching the point. They're off to the side. Zephyr won't be able to stay on his back for very long, but he's baiting Dia. If Dia commits to that, he dies to a McCree.
If it's self-destructive, you need it if you're Shanghai, you just use your sound barrier. You connect with a few members, it's going to be Primal Rage used by Fearless, trying to force some of the supports back. It'll be Geggery launching her mech deep into the backline. It'll connect with Guido.
Fletter now moving in. He's going to try and set up behind Zephyr, but look at all of Shanghai Dragons shuttling towards these players at a rate of knots. Can't stop him. Addo comes through. Transcendence to Freefield just to secure this. Now, I wonder if this is even super necessary. They've moved off the point now, but they've already secured 2 of those ticks. With Geggery dealing with Zephyr's mech and 5 King removing the mini diva, that's it. Shanghai have got it done.
And I think if you are a Dragons fan, seeing Geggery play this good is exciting. I think you can make a very strong argument she's been their strongest player since coming over and inserting herself into the lineup. I mean, right now, 8 Olymps, 4 final blows. You see the beautiful use of defense matrix, right, to eat Munchkin's pulse bomb. They're able to turn, get right in Fletter's face with his Deadeye. I think you've been very impressed with her play.
There's excellent spatial awareness, Matt.
Yeah.
Very, very quick, especially if there's like a Deadeye flanking. She knows exactly what her role
Her
has to be.
sensitivity is like insanely high. I mean, if you've ever watched her play, I mean, it's unbelievable to be able to control that.
Yeah, she tends to look around a lot. So if we ever get on board with her, you'll see it. It's tough to watch for a long period of time if you're not used to it, mind you. I think I liken her to looking around like a meerkat. It's the best way to put it. She's always darting left and right. Now, Seoul has sort of taken these short stabs in with their main tanks to try and keep the Dragons at bay, but now Miro's been discorded. Geggery, again, identifies an opening, and Dia follows up with the extra damage. Miro's been removed, and now Seoul are going to get out of dodge. They've lost their engage. They might lose the secondary form of that, which will be Zephyr. Pulse bomb fizzles from Munchkin. They don't find a target with it. Geggery now returns to protect the rest of the team.
And Toby does have a nice shot there from Dia. Toby does have to use Valkyrie here. So if you did get Valkyrie out of the way, you're going to have both support ults here for the Dragons. So the Dragons starting to make some progress here. All led by Geggery.
Transcendence here. This is a little bit desperate. It looks like Seoul really don't want to lose any more ground. Self-destruct thrown in over the top, but Dia is heavily affected by it, but doesn't die. Dia can't get back to the Transcendence that was on the ground, though. That's the problem. He was stuck at 11 HP, and Miro knew it. Chased him down, gave him a bit of a tickle there with a Tesla cannon, and removed him. The Fire King's able to bring him back up and continue to pocket him. Miro is not done yet, though. Removing Freefield is going to be a nasty blow, and Otto going down for the Dragons now. They're running out of the players to really stick that damage in, and they will lose this fight.
Yeah, Geggery is trying to peel for the backline during that, and Fearless actually gets both supports for Seoul Dynasty extremely weak. Instead of going for the supports, Otto goes to challenge Fleta in the back in like a Widowmaker versus Tracer battle. But you already have a Widowmaker of your own. If he would have actually cut right instead of left, you probably would have ended up getting both supports there.
Fleta now, just checking to see if there was any sort of switches he should be aware of. He didn't want to linger too long in case Dia just mixed up an angle and found him. Sit there. He's looking by the siege tank. That would be where Shanghai would come from if they were trying to take the high ground, but it looks like that's not the case. Shanghai still want to force Seoul to drop. See Geggery there into the sky, Freefield there, and the bubble was there. He just wasn't quite close enough to it to protect himself. So Fleta gets an easy kill. Freefield's been brought back to life, but Geggery desuited. Not ideal. Dragons, as soon as they bring one player back, Matt, they lose another.
Yeah, Dia pushed so far up on Widowmaker. He gets taken out by Munchkin fairly easily. And look at how aggressive Fleta is playing here. As the Pulse Bomb comes through, he'll back on out. It'll be a self-destruct who takes down Fearless. So you might not even have your Winston for this next fight. I don't know who's going to get a touch here. It's got to be Otto.
You won't have him. Otto tries to get to the payload. No! So close and yet so far. No overtime triggered, of course, because he wasn't able to blink onto it in time. Half a second, if not less. Too late.
You see, like, it looks like two completely different Dragons teams. Now, on offense, they start to put together a pretty good push. They make things happen. Now, their first fight on offense goes great, right? You know, Fearless able to force out some of the support ults. You have two support ults of your own coming into the next fight. They're not able to win it after that. It's just, it's difficult to put a definite, like, pin on, like, what exactly is going wrong, because they're getting these advantages in fights, and they're just not able to close them out.
There's a distinct difference, I feel, between a fight in which you guys you get to make the engagement, you're proactive, and then a fight where perhaps you're defending or you get dived on by defenders, and you need to disengage, you need to peel, you need to respond and work under the pressure when you actually don't have the ability to engage.
I think the one thing you see from them that is clear is that when they are the aggressor and they are forcing their play on the opponent, they're pretty good, right? When they're attacking those first points, when the clear objective is the 1 point and then to push it, capture it, that's when they're successful. It's when we get into the second stage of the game and they get stopped and then the defense is pushing them back, they struggle, I think, to make those quick decisions and the right decisions on the fly when the other team is being aggressive. When they know their plan and they can go in and attack and be the one who forces the opponent to make those small decisions in the middle of the game, that's when they're successful.
Well, again, and for Dia, sometimes being on the same page as both of his tanks and his other DPS players is difficult. Again, communication, this is mid-fight stuff. Adaptations or responding or peeling or changing on a dime, that requires communication. We don't know how bad it is or how good it is for Shanghai. We just know it's difficult fundamentally.
I would say communication, obviously, a big one. I would also say that, you know, Otto, Fearless, and Gregory probably have a clearer grasp of what to do right now. I think probably the other members of Shanghai and some of the ones remaining from when U4 was the coach and whatnot have a lot of bad habits and things in the game that they probably have to break, and decision-making that they're used to that's probably not correct. So I think there's a lot of stuff they have to work on.
So they're
in that
just
regard.
having to play a new style, right?
Yeah.
Change up the way that they had always sort of approached it maybe in stage 1 or 2. Interesting thought. We can get them to players to chat about that one day. Regardless, you see this aggressive play from Seoul. But they know they disengage, right? They know that the Dragons want to get aggressive too. So they win the fight, but Munchkin standing out back towards the doorway. Because Seoul are able to sort of identify the cadence in aggression from the Dragons, they just take a couple steps back, disengage with it. They have Toby, right? They have the Lucio. They can respond positionally to getting dived on.
And it's a ton of healing from Guido playing Moira as well. Shanghai loses their supports. You did have Dia, Otto, and Fearless alive, but they weren't able to do much. Gregory will go in, try and stall. You have Otto here as well. Not able to get Fearless back in the fight. The point will go over to Seoul Dynasty.
Vikings in trouble. He might not have known the Fleta would be here. No, it's going to be a wash now in the second part of this fight. Mind you, while this is occurring, wasn't actually anyone on the payload, so they've got to double back. Get on it.
You're going to have all 6 ultimates, though, here for Seoul Dynasty. And you probably don't need to use all of them in this next fight, but they're looking pretty good to close this map out. You have this big Earth Shatter from Miro. We'll see if he's able to land a big one. You know, Fearless needs to probably just jump on top of him, land that bubble down, right? Take away any effects that Earth Shatter would have.
A Dia pick here would be pretty primo if they can land it. Fleta, Deadeye, blocked out. He knew Gregory was up there. He just had to go for it, I suppose, and try and get back in combat ready mode. He's stuck! Oh no! Addo sends him a bit of a gift. Fleta not gonna be happy about that one at all. There's no resurrect potential for Seoul because they're not running a Mercy, so they're going to carry on regardless, as they did find Addo. Guido chased him down with the Fade and continued to give him the slurp. Finished him off. And now Seoul marches on. So this puts the Dragons in a compromising situation. There's a Coalescence. There's a whole hog here. 2 very important ultimates for Seoul to keep moving, keep this momentum going. Here's a Primal Rage from Fearless, though, trying to mess them up a little bit.
And the whole hog used from Munchkin as well, trying to knock players back, but Guido uses the Coalescence. You see Freefield gonna back out there as Zenyatta. He did use his Transcendence. Guido's running out of juice here. Not gonna be able to keep everybody up.
No, yeah, that's right. He was struggling. You can see that Miro was you know, begging for those heals, but dealing with a Primal Rage Winston and your Reinhardt, you're in a corner, nothing much you can do. You can't charge him, you can't swing at him. Oh! Okay, that was close. He will go down there. And Ardo being a casualty in the fight won't really mean much because it was so late. It was traded anyway. Nice little moment there for a Munchkin. So, okay, back to the Mercy here. A little bit more of a robust support setup. Miro on the Winston. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear to see the Seoul were just trying to carry on their first point composition and see if they could.
You had a lot of ultimates. You may as well use them now. You know, when you kind of reset everybody in a way, right? Because you know Shanghai just used a lot of their ultimates. Then you can reset all of yours as well, so you're not as far behind in terms of ultimate economy. So you may as well use your ultimates, force theirs out, and then reset everybody. As Otto used the Pulse Bomb, doesn't connect with much.
And you can see that they were moving Zephyr in front of Fleta to try and get him set up on the high ground to beat Dia. That's exactly what was required. Now that Dia's gone, Shanghai have to dive. They have to get aggressive because they're down a Widowmaker player. They need to remove, Fleta. He doesn't really seem to be too perturbed by that. Quick grapple out of the way. Oh, I'm pretty sure his assailant got booped in his direction. I think Miro actually knocked Fearless towards him. I'm not sure, but I mean, he had Primal Rage, so it could close the gap anyway.
I mean, you already had a kill go down on Nagito and Munchkin, so you lost your Tracer, putting pressure on the flank, and you lost you know, the ability to kill that Tracer from distance with Harmony, and then Discord Orb as well for the damage, so you have Infrasight here for Seoul. I mean, you could combo like Infrasight with like a Self-Destruct, see if you can come up with like a, you know, a big play like a Poco would make, so to speak, but I think it's highly unlikely as Shanghai will have both support ults. There's Transcendence coming out. See if they decide to hold on to Valkyrie.
At this stage, Toby's about to build his. Gegari finding both supports. Man, she's just shredding up the back line.
She's just crushing right now.
Femme Fatale indeed.
I mean, leading the lobby on both sides and overall limbs. And tied with Fleta, tops in the lobby for final blows.
That's what he called tops in the lobby, and remember that one. Yeah, killing it. Let's see how this went down. So again, notice there's defense management is being used intermittently there. Oh man. Oh, they're just getting styled on. Really nice play there. And you can see that high sensitivity that Gegari has, which gives her a lot of flexibility, but also kind of makes it hard to watch sometimes.
We haven't even seen her play Zarya yet, right? I mean, a lot of people knew her before Overwatch League as like a Zarya player, so that'll be a treat. Zarya comes back into the meta.
Miro onto free field with the help of Munchkin, and Fearless down. This could be dangerous here. I feel like the Dragons might have overextended. This wasn't even necessarily a fight they had to fully commit to. The payload, look how far back it was. They could have just allowed the Dynasty to make some more ground and then fight on the high. So Miro goes up now. So he can drop down and then jump up and receive healing whilst in mid-air, and that's what kind of gave him the invulnerable, invincible Miro tag way back.
It's interesting that 5 King switches to Lucio here when you don't even really need Lucio to speed you onto the payload.
No, I don't know if it's because they're trying to get out there and stall as quickly as they can, but really it's not necessary. They're so close to spawn. Gegari heads for the skies. Self-destruct, and Munchkin and Zephyr going to get a hot dog while they wait for that one to dissipate. They return. Free field now. Transcendence on the point. Notice Guido off in the corner there. He's trying to stay safe, but Gegari spots him. They're going straight for him. Guido is down. Gegari did her job in fighting this Zenyatta in that fight, but Guido's brought back to life. Gegari now is removed from his suit and taken out of the game. Dia switches to the old classic Soldier 76, where you don't quite know what he's trying to get out of it, but the speed. He's trying to get the sprint back to the point, and there it is. Map 2 is a Seoul Dynasty win.
You did see Gegari and Otto play pretty well there for the Shanghai Dragons. Still not good enough, though, for a map win. Need everybody to get on the same page with those two players, and I think you'd be much closer, but Seoul Dynasty still too strong here on Blizzard World.
See Miro there playing a fair bit of Reinhardt, switching off. Seoul eventually, you know, respecting a little bit of what Shanghai were doing in that second stage and went back to their signature, the traditional dive. Fleta, 11 final blows on Widowmaker. Dia for 8 for final blows. Not too far behind, and the break is just around the corner. We'll see you after the half.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Well, if the Dragons want to keep any kind of playoff hopes alive, they're going to need to pull off the reverse sweep because they're down 0-2 against the Seoul Dynasty at the half. Welcome back to the desk, everyone. Golden Boy with Brennan Crumbs. And yeah, I mean, you know, it's a tall order to ask for this team.
Now we know what the extent of going into the hole, how far you can really go. You can go 0-24 and you actually still have a shot at making playoffs. So very impressive stuff.
Well, it's going to be tough without a doubt. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the highlights. Firstly, Whiffleskaya, which, Brent, is a surprisingly very strong map for the Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, they're currently sitting at a 100% win rate on Volskaya Industries across the board, and that's still maintained now with their win over the Shanghai Dragons in this initial map. And I gotta say, I mean, some standout players for me, of course. You know, we got to big up Fletter. Every time we talk about Seoul, we always big up Fletter for very good reasonings, right? This guy, once again, high mechanical skills. I mean, he's used to that hard carry role, and despite the fact that we might say and might argue that Seoul are not playing as well recently, I still feel like Fletter is always that consistency. You know, he's always that cornerstone that you need when you're building a solid structure.
Yeah, well, you were talking about Fletter, though. But as we go into map 2, we actually saw some overeager, overambitious plays from Feta Crumbs.
So this is Fleta going for the 2-minute in defense, and he's thinking, I'm going to go for a flanking Deadeye in the high ground, be able to murder everybody.
It's so clever.
But he doesn't even wait. Like, what? You haven't waited for Diva jump, for Winston's jump, for Transcendence. You didn't even, like, where is the communication here? This is a good move if they tell you, all right, Diva just used boosters.
I would argue
Winston
that's never
just jumped in bubble. No, if they tell you Diva just jumped in, Winston jumped in, there's no Matrix, no trend, there's nothing, you go for it, then that makes sense. But that very clearly is none of that.
That's something that Sideshow would do.
That's a solo
rank
game.
games. I've honestly witnessed Sideshow do plays like that, and I'm like, if you saw somebody do that in a pro game, I would consider them to be throwing. So, I mean, I don't know if I'd go as far to say that Fletter is throwing the game, but it was very close to it.
It's lack of respect.
It's a lack of respect for the opponents because, again, Guguri was instantly on that. Turning around, the defense matrix was in the face. Guido got a little bit scared, or not Guido, I should say. Freefield got a little bit scared, had to pop off the
Ado was there with the replay.
Again, yeah, everyone was on point. They were immediately there. I mean, he wasn't going to be getting away with it. So, and I feel like it's kind of plays like that that are going to be the downfall of some of these teams against Shanghai Dragons.
Now, you got to be very careful. Let's just go into some of the general highlights for this one. Seoul, or I should say, correct me, Shanghai, we did see some moments where they were trying to hold this one off on the defense, right? Like, they got pretty close. Also do want to give them some credit on their attack because they couldn't take out the Diva in time, couldn't take out Zephyr. We're able to continue to keep that fight going to get that first point. But still, though, Shanghai, you know, showing some signs of life. But Seoul, man, they are just too dominant.
Yeah, I mean, you were already at a deficit when you consider that in this game, Fleta is the best sniper, and probably you could say he's already the best DPS in this game, so it's already an uphill battle for Shanghai. But Ado's putting up a good show. He's actually keeping up in relatively good form, and the Tracer matchup isn't going particularly anybody's way, so it's not that big of a discrepancy until it comes to the teamwork. We look at the plays and you're wondering, why didn't they say they saw somebody there? Oh, well, he's a Korean player that has to now tell the Chinese people or Chinese teammates what's going on, so that takes more time, and so the play doesn't get conveyed, things go downhill. It's communication issues.
Yeah, but even then, though, when we talked about that Fleta kind of over-eagerness on that play with McCree, that does show, though, that, like, awareness to, like, just turn around, recognize in that moment. Right?
I mean, it helps that McCree is literally screaming high.
He has a halo around him.
It's like, I'm here, everyone, I'm going. You know, it does help. You know, but it's still the communication issues are still very much there and apparent. I don't want to harp on about it too much because we say the same things about Shanghai every single time. And I mean, these guys, you know, they don't want to kick them while they're down. You know, I don't want to kick them while they're down.
Want to be Uber when I grew up is what that's.
I'm not surprised. He's an attractive young lad. You know, he's got a lot going for him. But enough about Uber. I mean, this game was. This game, this is what I'm saying. If they start underestimating Shanghai Dragons, that gives opening for them. And Shanghai Dragons are a good enough team to capitalize off it. It's just how much are you willing to give them?
Yeah, very true. Crumbs is going to continue to laugh.
5 pictures. This guy had to print 5 different pages of Uber's face.
Hey, and all the respect to you, man. Just the more paper you use for his face, the better. Okay, guys. Well, next up is Ilios versus 6. Keep in mind, if they want to keep any semblance of playoff hopes alive, Shanghai will need to reverse sweep the Seoul Dynasty, which is a very tall order for this team. But still, We have 2 more maps coming up after this, potentially 5. You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you in just a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Seoul Dynasty have a 2-0 lead over the Shanghai Dragons. And, you know, Shanghai could have totally won that last map. They just overextended, you know. And when it comes to Overwatch, this is a game about choosing your battles wisely. Knowing when to fight and where to initiate that fight is so important in this game. It's so crucial. And I think Shanghai, they'll start to get the hang of this more as they play with this new lineup. Speaking of the Dragons, friendly reminder to all of our Twitch All Access viewers there that we have another AMA coming up when the matches are done. Fearless will be the guy at the helm of the AMA, so you can ask him all types of questions, ask him how he's feeling about the new lineup, and so on, so forth. So anyways, let's get back into the action with our second half and send it on over to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Malik. I'll be tuning into that one as well. I do want to kind of check in with how the Shanghai Dragons are going and how they're all fitting together. I do want to hear a little bit from Fearless. I am enjoying that extra stuff because I sort of walk around and sometimes it's tough for even us to sort of get a conversation out of them, obviously like Barry and all that sort of stuff. So I look forward to seeing that extra spicy content.
They always seem in good spirits in Shanghai. Whenever they come in the room here, obviously they walk in through here, they go that way, behind the camera, and they walk down the middle. We have some subs coming in. Kuki will come in, and you'll have Zunba who will come in for Zephyr. But Shanghai always seems in good spirits. I think they definitely know that they're in a tough spot. I think they've acknowledged that, but I think they definitely see some positives moving on forward. I think Geguri has been very good, like we mentioned. I think Otto as well, when he's playing as Genji, has been solid. Elsewise,
However, the overall tone and cohesion for the Dragons leaves a bit to be desired, and they've been taken to task right now by the Seoul, by the Dynasty, should I say. I'll be honest with you though. for a team in the Seoul Dynasty's position, if you look at sort of their overall rankings, in terms of, I think they're third right now overall. They don't want to be losing matches
They're not a
to any
convincing third,
teams
though.
below fifth. You know what I mean? They need to be getting these consistent wins in right now. And in the past, they've actually kind of struggled sometimes against the Dragons, been caught off guard, etc., etc.
Well, if they're the only team that has, well, the Dynasty in the Dallas Fuel, the only teams who have not 4-0'd the Dragons. So Seoul has an opportunity to do that today, which would leave Dallas the only team.
Their map differential definitely could use a boost though, Matt.
Oh yeah, no, they need a 4-0, right? It's not like a 4-0 and you're just kind of like, oh yeah, whatever, that was another match. Let's say a 4-0 and you go home pretty happy,
We
right?
need it.
Yeah.
They need this. So see, briefly, Otto there was about 40 HP as he tried to blink across Dia's screen. He was playing towards the point and had to get out pretty quickly. So another 76 pick for Dia here. I kind of like it on this map. I think it makes more sense than playing it on like Volskaya Attack, for example, although that definitely has its merits. Dia can control high ground pretty well once the Dragons have control of the point. Assuming that occurs, like now, he can get up on the balcony and just sort of be a threat coming in from a different angle, man.
You don't mind giving up progress here first, though, for Seoul Dynasty. You know, you get everybody back to full strength. You're trying to get Flood in a good position, right? You're getting players split off here for Shanghai, and you catch Fearless going across. He got a little bit too far from his team. Him being far results in his death. It also ends up killing Gregory as well, because she's trying to go out to try and help him. So you get 2 for 1 here as Seoul. It's a nice shot. There they split Shanghai. In Shanghai, they get control of the point, then they kind of fan out. And at that point, Seoul just meticulously just picks them apart.
You can see Flatter was also playing in a position where he wasn't being put under any pressure or scrutiny, and you can see what McCree can do from there. That's why he's considered to be a king in the cleanup phase of fights. So, 6 ultimates, or 5 should I say, for the Seoul Dynasty. Kuki's is not far away. And the question is it the Kuki jar or the Pandora's box here? Because we'll have to wonder if they're going to try and throw all 6 in here and put Shanghai in a position where they can't retake, or do they need to ration them out? That's the big question.
I love how Munchkin just ran straight past Otto.
Yeah.
Called out where the enemy Tracer was going and then just went to try and go do his job instead of fighting that fight. So you'll have Guido get rezzed up through Valkyrie here. Shanghai has used their Valkyrie. Both teams going to have Transcendence. I mean, Dia using the Tech Visor late in this fight, not going to get anything out of that. Too many members alive here for Seoul Dynasty.
I mean, you want to switch up on that, and you could play a Widowmaker here if you're Dia, strong against McCree. However, this area, that central area, still is effectively McCree's sort of best sort of range to be playing at. So you still take a risk playing Widow into McCree. You have to hit that first shot. Soldier 76, again, not ideal. Yeah, we see the switch here. I like this, McCree versus McCree. I mean, I couldn't be happier.
Well, he's kind of forced into McCree. Because if you want to go to Tracer, then Otto has to give up
45% of a pulse bomb.
45% of Pulse Bomb to go back to 0% of a Dragon Blade with about, what, 80% on the point? You're probably not going to get it, so... At least you'll have a chance with the Pulse Bomb, right?
So look at Guido's positioning here as well. He's keeping the sideline so fine. Working to the point. He'd be able to keep it contested, and you can see that he's being sort of sat with by Zunba. But being subbed in for this match, of course, so bit of a change-up for them. Flatter gets Dia with the down. Oh, no! 5 kicks, stand still for the Resurrect. He actually got Dia back on his feet, which is so astounding. Dia was invulnerable for a couple of seconds, or for like a second after he got resurrected. Otherwise, he would have fallen to the Pulse Bomb too, Toby, trying to get the Resurrect. Zuma doesn't have much defense matrix, but it was enough to defend Toby as he got the Resurrect. Soul going to get out, and the Dragons have taken control of the point here.
Soul will have Valkyrie, though, and is self-destruct for the next fight. Let's see where Dia tries to position himself as McCree. So you saw Flooded do a nice shove on McCree for Seoul Dynasty. Now with the point controlled for Shanghai. See if Dia can do some nice stuff.
I like that he keeps the statue in between himself and the rest of the divers from the Dynasty, so we can always see him coming. Kuki was removed very quickly. That was a pulse bomb that, again, you're happy to use. And this used to be one of Dia's very best heroes back when he played for Vici Gaming in China. About 2 years ago, actually. Around the time where sort of the Reaper, Anna, Mei meta was very strong. Dia started pulling out the McCree to counter that and actually worked quite well. So he kind of started the trend of sort of stopping that unbreakable combo as it was at the time. It's very, very, very solid McCree. One of the best.
Yeah, nice kill there from Otto. Onagito goes up to the high ground, gets Munchkin pretty low as well. And Valkyrie had been used here for Soul, so they're going to raise Guido. They want to try and get something out of this fight.
Gregory gets something, that's for sure. Zunba down. Shanghai Dragons at 88% right now. This is looking much better for the Munchkin down to Dia. Look at him. Doesn't even have a smile on his face right now, even though he's reaving his way through. Fleta with a dead eye. Oh, he gets blocked. Was that a body block there? That was pretty impressive stuff. His ultimate, I guess, still works like hit scan ability, right? So if you can actually stand in the way, stop it. I have to say, that's pretty big brain from Guido if that was intentional. However, the Dragons still take the first round on Ilios.
It's super interesting here, Mitch, to look at the Dragons on Volskaya. Very good when they were attacking point A. It's a clear objective, get the point. On Blizzard World, they were successful getting point A. It's just a static objective. You see here on Control, they're able to win this first one. It's another static objective. It seems like once we get into the free-flowing parts of the map, where you have to make more decisions, and there's more areas to attack and different angles to flank from, that's when they seem to not put things together. But when it's a singular objective, they can all agree, hey, this is the capture point, we need to go to the capture point, we need to figure it out, how to attack this. That's when they seem like they can put together some successful pushes.
And now over to Ruins, which is a battle that's heavily highlighted by Widowmaker play. That's why Dia and Fleta will be taking center stage. And what should be a pretty epic tussle. Both very accomplished hit scan individuals. Both can also play a bit of projectile as well.
And I think we would both agree that, the guys on and the girls on Shanghai, right? Agree, but that they're very good mechanically. Like, they have the skill, right? It's just the teamwork that needs to come. If they can get that teamwork going, you expect them to be much better than this. You expect them to be very close and competitive and win a decent amount of games.
Many fans expected them to be better than this anyway at this stage. Man, it sounds a little bit harsh, but they are starting to grow into a stronger unit. We saw how close they pushed the shot.
Yeah, I think it was obviously the fans want to see the Shanghai Dragons team win. It'll be Seoul Dynasty who controls the point here first,
man.
but I thought it was a little bit unfair to put all the pressure on Geguri coming in like an off-tank role, right?
No one was doing that.
Around.
People were just out there saying that she was going to turn around the team single-handedly. That's how you put pressure on someone like that. She was fine. She comes in with a couple of new players and they make a difference and they're improving. That's all that matters. It's an unfair question, always to ask.
And she's been great in all their matches. I saw one of the tweets where she's like, "Oh, I kind of take the blame for that one." It's like, yeah, you've been playing very good. You can't be too hard on yourself.
Well, yeah. Like sometimes it's to appease fans, Sometimes players really mean it. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. So Munchkin is trying to keep track of where Dia is right now through the wall, and slightly out of Munchkin's reach. He can harass. He would probably like to force out a grappling hook there, but it doesn't seem to be possible at this stage. Dia's not really phased by that. Refuel wards Munchkin away with some orbs. Fearless going down now. You can see that, or perhaps the Shanghai Dragons are a little bit split up. Munchkin fails to remove 5 King before having to recall out, so Mercy can skitter off to safety. That'll be Munchkin pursuing now. 3 damage. He'd like a pulse bomb here, so it's unlikely he commits heavily unless he has a pulse bomb and a guaranteed, multi-kill situation. Or a Zenyatta.
Ooh, and there a second light getting to Kuki's body. Once Dia picks him off, Toby goes in, gets the res off. There's second light there, Shanghai going in to pick him off, but it'll be a kill onto Dia. Fleta trying to fight this Tracer up close. Otto will get the best one. Shanghai should be able to flip the point here.
Dia back in the action, removing Kuki there. And Munchkin maybe just wants to stall out and give a couple extra. Yes, he die on the point is the call right now. He has a recall, he can use that. Pulse Bomb even probably shouldn't be committed at this stage, and he won't. But it gives him a good 10 extra % just from being there as Tracer. Die on the payload, die on the point if you're in a lost fight, guys. Remember that for your games.
It used to be the key of the game, right? Remember when Mercy was able to res like everybody?
Die
on the point, die on the
all
point.
together, please.
Just come swooping on in, bringing everybody back up. In for a sight from both teams, so as soon as Fleta uses that, Dia is almost forced to use it as a response, right? I mean, you want to deter Fleta from peeking. As 5 King will use Valkyrie here. Pretty risky during Fleta's infrasight.
Oh, big pulse bomb there. Toby couldn't get away from it. Enclosed spaces and pulse bombs do not mix if you're the one receiving them. And now Otto can step forward and sort of push Fleta back a little bit more. Over the edge goes Zunba. After Geguri had that D-mech. Now the Dragons can try and take control again. Try and grind down this Soul, I guess this momentum in general. Fleta getting picks like that is so big now. I believe 5 King? Is that Resurrect on cooldown right now?
He's going to go back. He thought about rezzing it, but
no.
very deadly.
This is getting out of control, Matt. They've lost 5 King now. No Resurrect either way, and with free fuel down, the Dragons are missing 2 supports. Somehow they come forward and get completely picked out. And that should be it. It's a 1 fight immediately. And now at the spawn time, is this going to be half of the Dragons to get back? What a critical mistake to make at a very important juncture in the round. And overtime is ticked. And that's Otto getting blown up there by a self-destruct. And no one really from the Dragons can get there. One apiece here on Ilios.
Yeah, Dia just needed to back up there. Played a little bit too aggressive. Got picked off by Fleta. Not able to res it. And then things just spiral out of control there. Seoul Dynasty able to take a round here on Ilios.
Dragon's chance starts up again. So looking across the Seoul Dynasty in terms of individual performances, I mean, no huge standouts. I have to say that Fleta definitely, his Widowmaker play was a cut above Dia's on multiple occasions, on Ruins especially. So that one pick was just a sliver of Dia peeking out around the corner. Even a previous one where Fleta almost gets the kill and all of a sudden Kuki comes sailing in to jump on top of Dia and get the extra 7 HP of damage which was required. So Seoul Affiliate, you know what I mean? They're looking pretty coordinated here. And Shanghai, look, it's pretty unforgivable having your Mercy and your Zenyatta picked off at distance before the last fight starts.
Obviously, they do get picked off, but they're trying to... They actually make a play where they're trying to go for Dia, and then they back out halfway, and then by the time they start to back out, Munchkin and Kuki are right there, so...
And again, the Widowmaker of Fleta makes it kind of hard to really not get picked in a lot of those cases.
Interesting they go to 76 over McCree again at the start here.
I think that's just a preference for Dia in general.
But he started to play better on the McCree, though, in the previous game.
I agreed. I thought that was a big reason why they actually won Lighthouse. I think McCree's a good pick here. Again, this well area is his optimal range.
Shanghai needs to be aggressive off them. They get the first 3 kills. They need to not let Seoul linger here. Nice play here by Fearless and Gregory, pushing Fleta all the way back. Because so many times they'll get those kills and they'll just sit there and then they'll let the team just kind of poke out. They'll contest the point a little bit, and then the tanks come in. And
yeah, so like closing out these fights and even these matches definitely is something that the Dragons want to start developing into.
They don't chase towards the end of those, right? And really punish teams. They just get the kills and kind of sit there. Now, you see when they start punishing teams, that's when they'll start to accrue a large amount of percentage.
Fearless. Trying to keep tabs on Seoul. He knows they're all sort of quite close together. It's a good opportunity for Otto to just sort of poke at the back of them right now. Seoul are in a position where there's 3 ways of accessing them. Good little rotate back from Fearless here just to pressure Fleta away from being able to commit properly on Genji and start to get dash resets in. But 5 King's gone down to a pulse bomb. Okay, so they commit the Transcendence here. This is interesting. Dia now is just going to stand inside that one. And this is going to force Seoul just to break line of sight completely. They have to step off the point, which means they can't really capture it. So Shanghai gets more capture progress. Fleta reflects Dia's Helix Rocket back at him, though, after fighting free field. That's huge.
With Fearless here using his Primal Rage, and you do have Otto alive, potentially, I was going to say, accrue more percentage, but they step off, and Seoul Dynasty will get the point. 59% built up here for Shanghai. He did end up using both support ultimates, so you're going to be behind here a little bit. And Fleta's going to basically win this next fight, you would think, with the Dragon Blade. You know, he's going to be able to just go crazy as they come through the choke.
Yeah, I mean, his Genji in that previous fight was so brutal, removing both Free Feel and Dia from the fight immediately. 5 King, you know, he's spoiled for choice when it comes to resurrect targets in a lot of these fights. It's not a great thing, though, if you're Mercy. So you'll notice that Fleta will let a lot of these players pass by. You see Fearless attempted to dive in, get picked. Oh no! He got the headshot, but so did Tito. The combined damage of Genji and Zenyatta removes a very important player. But Fleta, he bites off more than he can shoot. You can't block lightning, you're forced to ride it. And now Dia is back in the fight. So that man disadvantage now being reversed somewhat. But Zumba removes Dia as soon as he comes back. He's had a hard run of it so far. The School of Hard Knocks. And Seoul are the Deans. No pun intended. Remember old Lunatic High Dean? Shouldn't have to explain my jokes, but, you know, 90s kids will get it.
You did kill Toby during that fight, so 5 King does gain a considerable advantage in terms of Valkyrie. 5 King will have Valkyrie. Toby's about only a little bit more than halfway there. You could combo some of these support ultimates, as it's going to be a very difficult point to take back.
Fleta again recalls his previous encounter with Fearless and shudders. He realizes there's not much counterplay if you're a Genji trying to deal with a Winston. The blade is in. And there's a lot of visual effects because Transcendence has been used there. Fleta goes down to Gregory's self-destruct. Nicely used. It was actually defensively done. Toby's down to 5 King. Comes in with that Mercy Blaster in Valkyrie.
5 King uses Valkyrie, just hunts down Toby. Kills him before he can get anything. You'll have Fearless here with Primal Rage if they need it. Dia building up towards attack visor rather quickly. Shanghai will be able to flip the point.
All right, hey, they're warming up. This is good to see. Again, we often see on control maps a far more fundamental brand of Overwatch. It's very much just like team fight after team fight after team fight, knowing how to set up, knowing how to dive, knowing how to execute a simple set play. And this is where Shanghai look very good. So it's clear to see that the mechanics and their sort of, foundational cohesion is good. Thumbs up for that. So let's see now if they can finish the job and actually take the map away. This fight may be the decider, Matt.
Toby's got to be careful using this Valkyrie. Do have tactical visor. It'll leave Fleta who falls first here. It's going to be a false run from Otto. There goes Kuki.
Honestly, Kuki in danger. Some of his teammates jumping up at that angle. The rest of Seoul was standing up on the balcony. Took a big hit from that one, but it's fine. None of it goes down to that one. Dia has been removed again, really having problems getting involved. I don't actually know if Dia's had any final blows on this round, Matt. He's been very quiet. And now Fearless is trying to salvage the situation, going with the Primal Rage. That's expired, and now he's taking a lot of orb damage. Jumps back, bit of peel. Primal Rage, Kuki goes down, and Gegari finishes the job. This is going to be a very tight play now, and the dive is good. That's excellent dive from Fearless. He's found Toby, a punch, just to make his point very clear. Free Phil's been removed, and Flat is still at large. He's almost got a Dragon Blade to bring to bear, and that could be quite nasty, but Zumba Disu to take it down. Ardo staying alive, forced a recall out of Munchkin, who's very low on health, and he eventually falls. Shanghai had the player advantage now, but Fearless was removed. Flatter, I believe, reflected some projectiles back into the Winston to remove him from the picture, and now the Dragon Blade. Will this be the saving grace for the Seoul Dynasty? Couple more slashes, and Gegari is going to be unceremoniously ejected from her mech and taken down. Shuriken to the head. Now Flatter to come forward, and Otto found Ditto, and this is going to be still a very tight fight. Munchkin is about to rejoin the fray for Seoul.
It's going to be Fearless coming over the top as well. Zumba with a self-destruct could clear this point out. Fearless needs to stay on. He gets a little bit weak. Pushed back, though, as Shanghai still in this. It's going to be Munchkin, though. He has been going crazy in the back line. He takes out Dia. Got to keep these supports alive for Shanghai.
Flatter is so low, but so are Kuki and Zumba. It's an orb desperately thrown out by Dia to keep his backline alive, but no! The inexorable wave of the Shanghai Dragons to come through. Gegari Pulse Bomb taken out of the mech, though. Munchkin at least gets that consolation, if you will. He's still alive in the pit, forced to recall. Toby can skate out of this one on that. Lucio, so what he's trying to do? No! The Shanghai Dragons take Ilios, and they show us that they know how to get scrappy. Get their hands dirty. They know how to confuse me. Make me mix my words up.
That one got real close, Mitch. Munchkin was able to take out Dia early at the beginning of that fight. And then 5King goes for a really risky res. He dies as well. The tanks of Shanghai came up huge. Gegari and Fearless were both fantastic in that final stage. Otto on his Tracer came alive as well. Shanghai with a chance to tie it up.
That'd be big. One more map would decide it, or at least whether we go to a map 5 or not. Wouldn't that be great to see? Was that 5-King play there? Very aggressive, chasing down Toby. Even Seoul couldn't come back in and finish off the job. What a great map Ilios has been. Map 4 is just around the corner. Stick with us. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
what's up here in the Blizzard Arena? I see a lot of people stayed with us, and it was worth it. The Shanghai Dragons just took that map off of the Seoul Dynasty. And, you know, at the end of halftime, I actually talked to the operations manager from the Shanghai Dragons. That's a big title, isn't it? And he talked to me a little bit about the comms issue they're still having. He did say that if an individual makes a small mistakes in comms, that leads to them losing team fights and just not quite being able to finish up a map. But they just proved that they can do it. They do have the individual skills, and their operations manager certainly gave them the vote of confidence at the end of halftime. He talked to me and said, you know what? It's only halftime. I strongly believe in our players and that they can pull up a reverse sweep. And they're on the best way to do just that. Let's see, the audience here agrees. Let's see if they can unleash the dragon. What am I actually? Oh, hi. Thank you. How sweet. Now, let's give some love to the Dragons, though. Can they do it? All right, let's see. Map number 4 coming up for you right now.
Wouldn't that be quite the way to finish off what's been a crazy day with some very close games, some not so close games, and we're hoping this one becomes one of the former.
A Dragon's first win in a reverse sweep would be one of the craziest things that ever happens.
There's been a thing about the casters as well, like everyone, all of us want to call that first Shanghai Dragons win. We all want it really badly as well, because obviously it's going to be a pretty epic moment when it happens.
It's going to be hype as hell. Miro comes in for Kuki here. What could be our final map. Seoul's got to be worried. If the Dragons win this, we go to another control, something they could do?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think, look, we probably need to maybe reinforce the difference between a control map and perhaps like an escort map like this. On a control map, you're constantly diving at the same point. You dive at the same point, so you have a setup that you can apply to the same point. Well, now on a map like Escort, it's a dynamic map. The environment's changing. And so your approach and strategy, your setup needs to be different almost every fight.
Control by nature is just a lot more structured than a map like this. A map like this is more fluid, there's more individual decisions to be made. And that's where you see the communication issues come through for the Dragons. When the Dragons beat Seoul, Mitch, in stage 1 though, on that one map, was an escort map. It was Dorado.
It was Dorado.
Different map.
But Shusha playing Farah on attack on that map, if I'm not mistaken, on that second stage?
May have been.
Against like a Flatter Widow or something like that. Good old days. We actually covered the Shanghai Seoul match in the preseason as well, like way back, before anything really mattered. In the
I'm a Dragons expert at this point.
Yeah, I think so. I think we could say that. We especially in stage 2, we had a good run of that.
Bren is also a Dragons expert, just because he needs to be an expert at something. So we figured we would have him study the Dragons.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he's come out well. You know, his prediction game.
Average.
Can use work sometimes. I think he called Dallas to win today, but that happens. But let's jump into this one here. So the Shanghai Dragons are going to be on the attack. So let's see now. They have a very good way of attacking or setting up dives on Ilios on those single stages. Now they're going to have to do it in a variety of different contexts throughout this map.
And I tell you what, if you're Shanghai, you like the composition that Seoul is running right now, you don't have to make some changes, right? It's not something where they're running like an Orisa up top, and you really have to kind of game plan differently. It's a mirror composition. You know what to expect out of this. You can have an idea where Flood is going to set up. Not dealing with something that could be annoying your backline, like a Sombra, let's say. So
I have to say, Otto just forced Munchkin's recall around the back of Big Earls. Almost managed to get the better off in there, but there's that first pick. Should be a Resurrect here, but look at the dive. Seoul are trying to take advantage now of the fact that there's a bit of vulnerability, and they cancel the Resurrect purely by booping 5 King away. So any sort of crowd control effects or displacement will cancel that, and now they have to wait for Dia, should I say.
And if they don't get much from Dia on the Widowmaker, it's going to be hard for them, because Flutta is going to have, I mean, Route 66 just has these long sight lines, where if the other team is running Widowmaker on the defensive end and you don't have a Widowmaker, you either need to dive, and it needs to be a very clean dive, or you need to close the gap in some way with whether it's 76 or put a lot of pressure on it with Tracer. It's the Auto coming behind. He was pretty weak already, but still finished off.
Yeah, he used to be a Tracer man until he took about 35 Widowmaker bullets to the knees. This is the problem, though, is that you can see that Dia is sort of depending on Gregory to give him the upper hand in some of these fights and body block and use defense matrix. If this doesn't work, you can't play McCree against Fletter's Widowmaker. You need to switch to Genji Tracer. You can't play Farah. And then Auto, what? Does he have to switch off Tracer?
Yeah. Well, the issue is because Seoul's going to play at this close corner, right? So you can't just dive past these tanks and then just leave the supports there to die. They'll be Five King using Valkyrie, trying to keep up his tanks as they dive in deep. It'll be Valkyrie that comes out from Toby here as well.
Are in trouble. Oh, Freefield was toast, but then he actually pulled the Transcendence. Dia gets himself on top of Big Earls and serves up a nice nothing burger to Munchkin. He gets wrecked. And now Dia has space to work with. And also a stationary Mercy in his line of sight, so that's a thing. Dia as well, infra sight. You can see that Fletter's trying to get away very, very quickly. The Dragons only have one player on the payload, so it's not exactly rocketing forward right now. This will actually give Seoul a lot of time. They're disengaged, and now they can sort of try and consolidate.
And you do create that space and push on in, but you have to use your support ults to do it. So it's not like you kind of manufacture that space through good positioning and kind of outplaying. You just use your support ults to muscle on through. It's now the issue is when you don't have these support ults, how do you do it? Fearless doing a nice job of that right now.
Oh, Toby got away!
Toby real weak.
Unbelievable, he actually got the Harmony Orb from Guido as he flew past.
But it pushes both supports far back, right? Where they're able to get one kill. Now it's starting to go in Shanghai's favor. That's the space you need. That is really nice main tank play from Fearless.
Double pulse kill from Munchkin, but it doesn't really matter. Gonna be a resurrect on Ado here. And Munchkin knows he can't contest. So Shanghai come up with a winning response. It's very, very good. Dia with 2 final blows over that fight. Ado with 2 himself. And again, you notice that once Dia could set up on Big Earls and actually have a few different... When Seoul were pushed off that high ground, Shanghai started to kick into gear. This is what we want to see from them.
It's just that if the tanks can create space
yes.
and Dia can shoot like that, we could see a 5th map here today.
Toby, absolutely sconted as he tries to walk out from spawn. We'll see a couple of moments here, and the Shanghai Dragons are moving the payload, and Dia's actually playing quite far forward on the bridge. So again, this is quite an aggressive setup. It does force Seoul to sort of opt into a 1v1, trying to get rid of Dia, or this kind of play where they force a Transcendence out. So Shanghai are making the right moves right now in this fight to force Seoul to play heavy fines, heavy tolls to even get it onto the point, and Flatter's down now. Guess who has room to breathe? That's right, it's Dia. Sit back. This is very good from the Shanghai Dragons. They're starting to build up a head of steam now.
They're making it costly. Oh, Freefield pops his Transcendence because he's about to get hit with that self-destruct, I believe. Because now he uses that on the point. Miro using Primal Rage, trying to force the members back. Seoul does get control yet again. Otto does take out Flutta, but the fight is over in favor of Seoul Dynasty. You see how far Miro is pushed in, going all the way back here into the spawn. Now has to back out. So Shanghai did make it costly for Seoul Dynasty to win that one. A lot of ultimates used. Guido, though, putting down a decent amount of damage, already 75% to that Transcendence. Guido now 21% of overall team damage. Good for second right now on Seoul Dynasty.
He's hitting very hard. And now I guess Munchkin with Munchkin's Pulse Bomb missing. The Dynasty don't have a lot of ultimates to work with, but neither do the Shanghai Dragons. Both teams playing a very, what we'll call vanilla fight. At this stage, all about getting picks and just sort of winning out those 1v1s, which Flatter has done against Dia, but now he's jumped upon. Ado removes him, and that'll be a resurrect. So both Widowmakers are going to be brought back into the fight. The Mercy resources are committed into maintaining sniper presence on both sides of the map. Miro can drop in on Dia here. This is going to force the grappling hook. He doesn't have it available yet. No, he gets punched. And then Miro just jumps back out, joins the rest of the Dynasty. Always where he needs to be so far in this map, Miro. And Seoul looked to be solidifying after being at risk of being run out of town.
Yeah, and Five King uses his Valkyrie there, and was not able to keep Dia alive, was not able to keep Guri alive, so didn't really do much with that Mercy ultimate.
No.
Dia switched for a second over to Pharah, and now goes back to Widow. So I probably don't want to play that far into Flutter's Widowmaker. Probably
That
doing
would
pretty deadly.
be
Oh,
a great way to lose
goodbye.
immediately. Fearless there gets taken down. Gegari down to half. Surprisingly, actually, no one else on the Shanghai Dragons fell foul of that explosion. I would have thought there'd be more casualties, but they cleverly backed away. Yeah, that's a pick. That's a big pick indeed. Now, Fleta has a bit of an interesting spot there, kind of playing on that low ground. Toby was still able to get the resurrect. Now, what's Fleta going to do here? He has his grappling hook for 3 seconds. Oh no, Five King, focus down. Miro and Fleta from very different angles find that one. Now, does Dia know where Fleta is? Yeah, he spotted him now.
You got both supports, so down on Seoul Dynasty, though. Fearless was able to take out Toby during that. So you're going to be able to push this payload long enough for Five King to come
John! Fearless with 3, man!
Fearless has been unbelievable. Fearless, Otto, and Gegari have kept Shanghai in this game. Zunbut launches self-destruct up in the sky.
Just having none of it, breaks line of sight, ducks in under the back of the payload. Now Seoul is sort of reinforcing, and Guido has used that transcendence. We're in overtime here. Very critical moments. Gegari, self-destruct. Nothing with that one, throws it in. She does manage to resuit, and Freefield now has the transcendence. The timing is very good, and they're going to use that now. So Seoul, do they disengage in this one? Munchkin's playing around the back. Fleta needs some big picks. He can actually cut through the transcendence, damage on lower health targets. But Zunba has been desuited. Taken down now, although Miro found 5 Kings, so no mercy is pretty bad for the Shanghai Dragons, and Toby manages to stay alive. You can see that Miro drops a bubble halfway through, and you can see he's able to glide through it, Toby, to stay alive. Munchkin's there. Pulse Bomb claims Toby, though, but he did get the resurrect on Miro. That's high value. It's a 2v3 right now in favor of the Dynasty.
And somehow Geguri is still alive here on the payload. She's able to take out Miro. You do have Otto left as well. 5 King coming back. He's going to be very close to Valkyrie. Need to keep this Mercy alive.
This could go wrong for the Dynasty. Fleta gets caught. Dia finds him, headshot. And there was definitely some damage from a Helix rocket there. And now the Dynasty are running on nothing but fumes. Guido being taken down. Dia starting to wake up a little bit more now. It's almost going to fall to him as well. Where was Dia for the rest of this match? That was huge. Now he's finally coming to his own. And the Shanghai Dragons have managed to break through what seemed to be a brick wall to get onto the last stage of Route 66. You love to see it.
Geguri and Otto were able to stay alive all throughout that. Just unbelievable play from those two. Really, those two and Fearless have been unbelievable in the last 2 maps for Shanghai. I mean, right now, Geguri tops in overall team damage. Number 1 in Elims, only 1 death. Doing a fantastic job in that diva role here. As now Shanghai have given themselves a good opportunity to actually win this map, right? If they would have gotten stopped in that second phase, would have been real tough. Now they're giving themselves a fighting chance, though, overall. Trying to push this mech around the corner.
Yeah, he's giving a bit of a push there. Doesn't really work out, but again, Dia, he's back. He's got the tactical visor. And the Seoul Dynasty had already committed to a fight. Now they're vulnerable to the damage. Dia just pounds them, and Otto was also there. And the Shanghai Dragons spitting straight fire here on the last stage of Route 66. 33 seconds left to finish the map. The payload is rocketing forward, puts the Dynasty in a position where they have 1, maybe 2, but 1 real good fight.
They're going to get the card close to the end regardless. This is unbelievable here for Shanghai.
Solar switch now, Fleta towards the Genji. Trying to pressure Dia a little bit more, but he drops the biotic field. Fleta's forced to back up a little bit now. Miro with Primal Rage and Dia's taken down. Zumba manages to find the pick, but Otto's hoping to make amends. He's got a pulse bomb. This could really ruin Soul's day. Toby might be the intended target. Now with the Transcendence in play, Otto just needs to be a little bit more well-behaved, and the rest of the Dragons have been cut down in the meantime. Geguri is removed. Overtime is done, and the Dragons will have to be satisfied with that performance. Definitely more, Matt, than we might have expected at a couple of points, especially after that first checkpoint.
That overtime from point A to point B felt like it lasted 3 minutes. A lot of times it looked like Shanghai was not going to be able to push the payload. They kept it on going.
That would be a really good breakdown, like if we have a chance. I don't know if I have it on the desk because they usually have something they want to look at, but it was actually like a 3v2 situation for Seoul on that payload in that overtime. But the Dragons had a lot more health pool, and the reinforcements came in at just the right time, and Fleta got smashed by Dia, who just, all of a sudden, Matt, he came alive just when his team needed.
Otto is doing a great job up against Munchkin. I mean, I know 21 elims, 9 final blows, only 3 deaths. I know Munchkin sitting at 16 elims, 4 final blows. So I think for me, this next half, if they can contain Fleta's Widowmaker, not let Fleta just run crazy on them, they have a good chance to force a game 5. It's can they contain Fleta on this half?
Well, you wish you quite
playing Widow.
An interesting challenge. I mean, how do you restrain Fleta?
If you kill Fleta, right? Well, not even just killing him, right? Just limit the impact of his Widow in terms of his hero pool, right? Where does he go here? Playing McCree, you'd be okay with that if you're Shanghai. He's not going to go, like, if you're getting the better in the Widow battle, he's not going to go Pharah, right? Genji, not as effective on Route 66 just because it's like wide angles, long angles, right?
You see what I mean about high sense?
Yeah. It's like how she normally plays.
It's like she's immune to motion sickness of any kind.
So it's, if you can get Fleta, not go crazy, destroy you on Widow, I think you would be okay with him playing Genji, even though his Genji's like phenomenal, one of the best in the league. I think on 66, Genji's not as effective as some of these other maps.
Well, here we are. The Shanghai Dragons now set up. for a chance to take this to map 5. Fleta is brought back to life here by Toby after getting slapped down. The challenge issued, the gauntlet brought across the face, of course. Fleta now returns. So again, the Dragons played this corner. Ardo was challenging Munchkin right now on the bottom of Big L's and forced his recall. Sorry, that's pretty big. Geguri now needs to get that mega health back. She does. Brought back to life, so to speak. And Fleta now actually playing a little bit further forward. We see some Widows. So what's he looking for here? Trying to get the shot on free field through that little gap, but this is what happens. He puts himself at the mercy of Ardo. Oh, he's got Dia though. One apiece here on this half for these two Widowmaker players. Tit for tat stuff, but that's a big opening kill.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to res Dia, but they do take out Munchkin though, so you're not going to have to worry about that Tracer just assaulting your backline. Fearless dives in on Fleta, but the help there from Vito. Yeah, this is what I was worried about.
And you see Fearless jumps at Fleta and goes and tries to turn towards the left to avoid that headshot coming in, but Fleta already hit him twice before he dived. This is not what you love if you're the Dragons. It all started with that Dia pick off, right? Then Fleta moves into that position.
And they try and contest this here, but the infrasight is also coming in from Fleta, so you're going to know exactly who and where the players on Shanghai are coming from.
Speak friend and enter, mate. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a relationship you have with the Dynasty on this particular map. Dia, he's down. The password is Melon, by the way. Come on. Miro backing up. He's actually got Primal Rage here. We won't need to use it. Free field's going to be sandwiched in and taken down.
I guess if you are looking at a positive here for Shanghai, is that Seoul used their Transcendence in their Valkyrie during that fight. You still have your Transcendence, so you can come into the next fight, that big Zenyatta ultimate. Use it to your advantage as you push on.
Like, always make me feel like I'm in the game. Like I live my pro gamer dream. Like, you have the Transcendence. Like, yeah, you're right, but I do. I do have that. By the by, we have Primal Rage, Transcendence, as you pointed out, for the Shanghai Dragons. Munchkin's got a pulse bomb here, so this trans may or may not be impactful depending on what this man on your screen can do with it. So again, he's probably looking at first remove Dia because he showed himself to be a pretty frightening threat. But 5 King has to go first, right? If there's someone pocketing a Widow, the pocket needs to be removed. Pulse bomb, at the ground. It's okay because Fleta's there. He just picks both Ardo and 5 King off from off camera, and then Freefield just gets dunked on. Drop the dookie, he says. And the Dragons.
The Dragons are too split there, Mitch. They have Fearless and Otto all the way by the choke, by the payload, trying to push on through, and then everybody else is in the back trying to defend Dia. At that point, just use your Transcendence and push on through. I mean, you know there's no support ult on the other side. Now you've given Seoul the opportunity to get both of their support ults going into this next fight.
Listen, man. The crowd has gone so quiet here as well. There's a sense of trepidation, waiting with bated breath. Unsure of what the fate of the Dragons is going to be following this. 5 King manages to get past the bouncer, which was Miro standing in the doorway trying to body block out. Fleta's forced to just try and spam away with that Widow's Kiss, but he's actually managed to get himself some space now. Self-destruct on the low ground. Geguri's trying to stay alive, but she can't. So that ultimate doesn't amount to much either. Ardo sees Fleta, a glint of the scope. He's forced to back away, and that was a vertical shot to Freefield. That's filthy! He gets rid of the Zenyatta here, and the Dragons now are being picked apart limb from limb. Off you Zenyatta, component by component. Sure there's a better way of saying that, but there's 4 minutes and 22 seconds left on the clock, and the Dragons need to dig deep.
They have not had an answer for Fleta on Widowmaker so far this offensive half. You can see the one shot here on Otto. I wonder if it'd be better, as you see a nice shot there from Fleta on the 5 King. I wonder if it'd be better if the Dragons just went with dive. Just put Otto on Genji and put Dia over on Tracer and just keep going at Fleta over and over again.
Can they? The thing is as well, it's like, can they risk going all the way into the back control? Oh, look at that aggressive Transcendence. We'll get to that one later, Matt. Freefield's taken down. So want to finish this one here and now. Geguri, not in a position to pay attention to Zumba. He's just trying to scratch up her paint job at the moment. That's all that's really being done. Self-destruct is there, though. So Zumba now has a second lease on life if he needs to eject and resuit. Payload is now around in the corner, and it's on the final stretch. Ardo, the only player, now with Geguri, who dived to the backline on a Fleta. The only two able to make a big difference.
Yeah, Seoul goes back to the payload. Now 3 members pushing it. They do have Otto that gets there and contests it for a second. Those seconds just allowing teammates to respawn. Toby building up towards Valkyrie very quick. They're going to have it again. The payload getting very close to completing the map.
Munchkin can double dash across to the balcony and drop a pulse bomb here. Otto's pretty much happening there. It's just a bit of decoration. Bit of smoke and mirrors. Pulse bomb stuck. That's going to be Fearless. Very low. Notice the Munchkin got some damage done early, so it could actually secure the kill before Fearless got back inside the Transcendence. So that puts the Dragons now in a position where they have to resurrect him, and they do so. Fletter's very far forward. I can tell he's anticipating finishing the map here, but he still needs to respect the presence of players like Ado, like Dia, like Fearless. And now he'll stay boots on the ground. The payload inching forward. Ado goes in for the dive. He has an Orb of Harmony on him. Gregory desuited there. This could be nasty. She's now going to try and stall that, at least with the mini Diva body, but the Pilot Diva doesn't do too much, Matt. That's Fearless down, though. Fire King's been removed, and it all ends here by the looks of things. The Dynasty now starting to send a message. The Dragons got close, but not quite close enough. And now they desperately would try and stall. Gregory would run, but not fast enough. And that is it. It is the Seoul Dynasty to take the match 3-1.
Not easy for Seoul. Very close game against Shanghai. But Fleta just too strong in the end there. His Widowmaker, no answer for it on the Seoul Dynasty offensive side of the map. They had an answer for it. Maybe we would see a fifth map, but not today.
Yeah, that one felt like a little bit more like that stage 1 Fleta that rocked and shocked us when we first witnessed him in action. Big performance, I have to say. Dia had his moments, comes out with 10 final blows in the end. We talked about Gregory sort of leading a lot of the stats at one point. We finally saw Ado and Dia step up. I have to say, Matt, the attack really looked very good for Shanghai in a couple points, but defense is hard. Do we disengage? How do we deal with being scattered, staggered? How do we come back from that? How do we time out our stalls? These are all difficult things. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we're done for the day almost. But we do want to hear from the desk on their take on this match that could have been quite the Epic 5 mapper. We'll head over to Golden Boy and the gents.
Thank you so much, and welcome back to the desk, everyone. Golden Boy here, along with Brennan Crumbs. And you know what? After the Mat 3 victory for the Shanghai Dragons, you had a very over-eager individual in our crew, and that is...
Classic
Bren.
Premature celebration.
I was convinced, mate. I was convinced. I had this on the moment. As soon as I saw them win Ilios, I was like, yo, this is happening. Shanghai Dragons are taking it, but, what's not to be? I actually can't take this off. That's the reason it's still around me. Once it's like, they're like, look at this. It just doesn't go over the headset.
No, it doesn't.
It just stays there.
You could take it off.
No.
Yeah, no, it's just leave it on. He's leaving it on for the duration of this segment. Okay, well, first let's go right into Ilios here. And this was it. This is where we saw Shanghai Dragons start to bounce back. They were able to win the first point here, and that kind of set the tone. They were able to bring it back from quite a deficit as well.
I could not believe the performance that Fearless, Gaguri, and Ado were putting up on this map. It was actually surreal. This clip in particular was super cool. Like, not many people notice, but when the Zenyatta body, when he's transcending, he's actually invulnerable, so you can use it to block shots like the Deadeye there. Super cool little moment that I just had to point out. But overall, the Dragons, they played so well on this map. Fearless, man. Just pick this guy up.
Yeah, when you say the Dragons, it's the 3 new members of the Dragons that all 3 happen to be Korean as well. So the Shanghai Dragons that we knew from before are really, they're coming up somewhat, but it's mostly the Korean.
I will say this
that
much.
Just got added, new addition.
Dia was holding his own against
He had
Fleta.
some decent plays, right?
He was holding his own on the
I
Widowmaker.
like his soldier swap on Route 66 to make it back to the point. That was a good move.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be a victory for Ilios and the Shanghai Dragons, and that's when Bren got so excited that he ran up here in a heartbeat and threw on a Shanghai Dragons flag over his shoulders, and then we forced them to keep it on because, unfortunately for the Dragons, they fall here in game number 4. We almost would have had that epic 5-game series. It is the cast curse.
As soon as I was like, this is it, they're going to be winning
Second you put that on, they're going to be winning. Okay. It's an ambitious
reverse sweep happens.
But isn't that worrisome for the Seoul Dynasty, though? I mean, this now means that Seoul is the second, again, still one of the only teams alongside the Dallas field to not get a 4-0 out of the Shanghai Dragons. And I don't think a lot more teams are actually going to be taking 4-0s out of this team. They're looking pretty good now, but Seoul Dynasty, if they don't have Fleta, what is this team doing? Even Fleta is going on individual tangents by himself with these crazy flanks without any assistance. It just seems like a collapse out of the squad.
That's right. Well, I love that you mentioned Fleta because he's actually going to be our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP, the man who dictates the meta known as Fleta. and he is that player of the match for the reason this guy was shredding it through. He was just demolishing throughout the entirety of the series.
Yeah, he's an absolute boss, honestly. He always has consistent performances on DPS, which, there's only a handful of players in the league that can really hold, that title, that attribute themselves. So Fletcher, realistically, he's always performing at this ridiculous level with immense mechanical skill on such a variety of heroes, such that I would honestly, I mean, who is the second player to even come close to him in this sort of flex DPS position? Because that can play so many different heroes up to such a high level. Like, the only person who comes to mind for me is Surefour, and even then Surefour, he flexes a lot, but Fletcher just seems to be from another planet.
EQO.
EQO? Another good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes, you didn't see that one coming yet.
Yeah,
and I think he might not have played those first 3 games, but I think he's right up there. He was in the stage 2 finals. Pretty damn good player. One of the top
No, I'm not gonna argue,
you,
mate.
You got to use the old noggin. You got to use the old noggin.
Yeah, I don't use that. No.
That's
I don't,
it.
really
Clearly,
it's
all
the
from the
flag.
heart,
No,
man.
it's the flag,
It's the
man.
heart,
It's
bro.
not too tight, but the circulation, you can tell it's.
all right, well, while Brent is choking over here, let's go ahead, take a look at the stage 3 standings where we are right now. The LA Valiant continue to sit comfortably at the top, 5-0. So congratulations to them. That victory for the Uprising brings them to number 6 in the stage standings. But here are the overall standings. Not much of a drastic change here. Seoul is in 2nd place after the win against the Shanghai Dragons. But unfortunately for the Dragons, any opportunity that they would have had to get into playoff contention, if let's say they would have had just a crazy reversal on just the amount of losses that they've had here, it is all gone now. So no matter what, the Shanghai Dragons, their playoff hopes dead in the water. But still, though, that means there's still more improvement to be made here in the first season of the Overwatch League. Here's the schedule for tomorrow, though. We got the Houston Outlaws versus the Florida Mayhem, then the Boston Uprising against the London Spitfire. Excited for that one. And then match that I'm pretty pumped for as well, the Philadelphia Fusion against the New York Excelsior.
How do you even choose between them?
Right? Like, how did they get so those?
That's actually ridiculous. Those are some fire games that are going to be kicking off tomorrow, for real.
Yeah, and you won't be here with me.
It's a rematch of the stage 2 finals. New York, Philly. Don't
Thank
touch
you for
that
offering
hand.
me.
No, I didn't give that.
No,
You want
over it? Come on.
Let me slide. Let me.
There it is.
There it is. I don't
What
want
is that? You can't
Get that away from me.
You know what? You guys are a riot. Throw it all. Bren, he's out of here. He can't handle the pressure anymore. But all right, well, we do want to let everyone know, though, to stick around for the AMA with Fearless from the Shanghai Dragons. That's going to be coming up right after this. We're going to get give Bren some hugs, and also maybe even crumbs, because he clearly doesn't want to hold any hands. So thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Tomorrow we have some great matchups. I'm Golden Boy for Bren, Crumbs, and the rest of the crew. We'll catch you later.
just got to keep moving forward.
What's up, Twitch viewers? My name is Danny Lim. I am your translator today, and for tonight we have Shanghai Dragons, one and only, fearless, everybody. 피러 씨 여기 지금까지 오셔서 너무나 감사드리고요. 카메라 보시면서 인사 한 말씀만 부탁드릴게요.
안녕하세요. 저는 상하이 드래곤즈의 피어리스입니다.
Hi, my name is Fearless from Shanghai Dragons. Nice to meet you all. Alrighty, so let's start this interview. Are you ready? 준비되셨나요?
네.
자, 그러면 제가 질문을 20개를 준비를 했는데 그걸
네.
먼저 하나씩 풀어 나가면서 인터뷰를 시작하도록 하겠습니다. Alright, guys, without further ado, we're gonna start with these 20 questions, starting from question number 1. This one is from Kobalti. Throughout playing games, did you ever think you were going to go pro? 코발티님께서 이번에 질문해 주셨는데요.
네.
게임을 하면서 프로 게이머로 활동하실 거라고 생각을 한 적이 있으신가요?
게임하면서는 그런 적이 없던 것 같아요.
Honestly, when I was playing Overwatch, I really didn't think about going pro. All right. Thank you so much, 코발티. 코발티님한테 땡큐라고 한 번만 해주세요. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to question number 2. This one is from Ikro. How much do you get to interact with other players not on your team besides from in-game? 자, 게임상에서 말고
네.
다른 팀 선수들과 이렇게 교류나 만나실 기회가 있으신가요? 그리고 만약에 있다면 얼마나 자주 만나시나요?
여기에 오버워치 리그에 온 이후로 타 팀의 선수들이랑 만난 적은 없던 것 같아요.
I actually, after joining Overwatch League, I've never really gotten the chance to meet other players from another team. 꼭 좀 시간이 되시면은 그런 기회가 있었으면 좋겠네요. I honestly wish you could, interact with their other players. You guys are all in this together. All right, cool. This one was from Ikro. Ikro, thank you.
Thank you.
20개 계속 할게요. 자, third one is from Stockish Racer. Stockish Racer is asking, how has communication been improving since the stage has started? 자, 이번엔 스토키시 레이서라는 분께서
네.
이번 스테이지 시작할 때에 비해서 소통 문제는 얼마나 나아지셨나요?
소통 문제는 이제 서로 어디로 갈지 내가 뭐 쓰고 상대는 뭐 있고 상대 어디에 있다 이 정도까지는 되는 것 같아요.
So it has definitely been improved. We could talk as much as from, I'm going from this point A to point B. I'm going to be using this hero, so on and so forth. So basic translation and basic communication is doable now. All right. Thank you, Stockish Racer. Stockish Racer, thank you. 한번 해주세요.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next one. Tomathon is asking, how hard is it to have your supports and tanks speak different languages? 자, 이번엔 토마단님께서 질문해 주셨는데요.
네.
팀의 탱커와 서포트들이 한국어를 못 하시는데 소통 문제가 경기에 얼만큼의 영향을 미치나요?
게임에 거의 한 30% 정도? 좀 같이 모이고 어디 가고 뭐 하자고 하는 게 시간이 좀 한국어로 했었으면 되게 빨리 할 수 있을 텐데 서로 언어가 안 통하다 보니까 좀 오래 걸려요. 리그룹하고 하는 게.
Okay, so I would say about 30% is the issue because if we had spoken the same language, either English or Korean or Chinese, whatever it is, if we had a universal language, regrouping the team and also just moving together as a team would be a lot more efficient and easier. Cool, thank you. This one was from Tomadan. Tomadan, thank you.
Thank you.
네. All right, moving on to question number 5. This one is from Sir Zerp. If you could be any of the Overwatch heroes, who would you be and why? 자, Sir Zerp님께서 만약 옵치 영웅 중 아무 영웅이 될 수 있다면 누가 되고 싶으세요? 이유는?
저는 트레이서가 되고 싶습니다.
Okay, so I really want to become Tracer in real life, and why is that? 이유는?
무슨 잘못을 했을 때 역행을 쓸 수 있다는 점에 가장 좋습니다.
So I want to be a Tracer. I want to be Tracer because I could go back in time. If I mess up on something, I could go back in time and fix that. That's actually a very good answer. 네, 지금 아주 answer가 굉장히 좋았던 것 같습니다. 자, 이번엔 썰저프, thank you.
Thank you.
자, moving on to question number 6. Basal Ope. What is your favorite part of playing in the Overwatch League? 바셀 오페님께서 오버워치 리그에서 활동하면서 제일 좋은 점은?
오버워치 리그에서 활동할 때 제일
네.
좋은 점이요?
League, yes.
오버워치 리그에서 활동할 때 제일 좋은 점이
시간 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fearless, your answer is
제일 좋은 점이 뭐라 대답해야 될지 잘 모르겠어요. 잠시만요.
뭐 이렇게 뭐 그런 게 있지 않을까요? Like I feel like Overwatch League is a league where you could like really communicate with your fans. 이렇게 팬분들과 소통하는 그런 게 있잖아요.
예, 이제 대회를 치르고 할 때 제가 항상 온라인으로만 게임했어가지고 이렇게 팬분한테 화이팅도 받고 그런 적이 없었는데 실제로 근데 이제 여기 와서 오프라인으로 대회하다 보니까 응원해주시는 분들이 더 많은 환호성이 느껴지는 것 같아요.
Alright, so one good thing about being in the Overwatch League compared to other competitions is that I could interact with my fans. I could get feedbacks from the fans and high-fiving and just getting their energy on live, on stage is really helpful. Thank you so much. And that was from Pasarope. Pasarope, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, moving on to the next question. Am Anora. This one is very tricky. 이번 질문 좀 진지한 겁니다. 준비해 주세요. It's a very serious question, guys. Pancakes or waffles? 팬케이크 아니면 와플?
팬케이크.
Pancake. 이유는?
싫어요.
Okay. Pancake definitely because it's softer than waffles. Good choice. Thank you. I'm Anora. Emanora, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to question number 8. Okay, the Doc Potter is asking. So you're named Fearless. Is there anything that you fear? 독퍼터님께서 이번에 이름이 Fearless인데 제일 두려워하신 것이 있나요?
실제로도 가능한 거예요? 실제로?
Yeah, 실제로. Just anywhere in your life, anything that you fear.
저는 곤충, 그러니까 벌레들을 가장 두려워합니다.
Oh, I am really scared of bugs. So Fearless fans, keep that in mind. He is scared of bugs. Alrighty, thank you, Doc Potter. Doc Potter, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, moving on to question number 9. Zip the Bip is asking, does your schedule ever allow any free time for friends or hanging out? 집더비님께서 많이 바쁘실 텐데 친구들과 만날 시간이나 쉬는 시간이 있으신가요?
제가 여기 온 이후로 친구가 없어가지고 만날 사람이 없는 것 같아요.
So honestly speaking, there are a few times that I have my free time to relax. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of friends in LA, so I usually just stay home. Alrighty, thank you, 집더비. 집더비, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next one. HS Premier is asking, could you give me tips on how to become a good Winston player? 윈스턴을 잘할 수 있는 팁 부탁드립니다. 한 가지만.
게임을 많이 하면 됩니다.
Simple as that. So in order for you to become a better Winston player, just practice a lot, play the game, play Winston a lot. Cool? Alrighty, moving on to next question. El Falas is asking, in your opinion, besides you, who is the best main tank in Overwatch League right now and why? Is there anyone you study to improve your own gameplay? 에팔라스님께서 피어레스님 생각에 지금 리그에서 제일 잘하는 메인 탱커는 누가 있을까요? 그리고 혹시 특정한 플레이어를 보면서 연습을 하시나요? 일단 그럼 처음 질문부터 갈게요. Let's go with the first half of the question. So 지금 리그에서 제일 잘하는 메인 탱커는?
런던 스핏파이어의 제스처 선수입니다.
London Spitfire's gesture, I pick him as a really, really good Overwatch League main tank. 그리고 혹시 특정한 플레이어를 보면서 연습하시나요? Is there anyone you study to improve your gameplay?
최근에는 거의 한 적이 없는데 여기 오기 전까지는 이제 미로님의 영상을 많이 보면서 연습했습니다.
Currently, I'm not watching a lot of other players play, but I used to watch Miro's play a lot and used to use that to practice. Alrighty, thank you. Moving on to question number 12. This one is from, I like this name, Doot Doot Doot. Who is the funniest person on Shanghai Dragons? 자, 두뚜뚜님께서
네.
상하이 드래곤스에서 제일 웃긴 사람은 누가 있을까요?
가장 알터링 선수입니다.
알터리고요.
알터링.
Altering is the funniest member on the team. 빠르게 이유라도 하나. Any reasons?
한국어로 항상 저를 놀리는데 그게 가장 너무 웃겨요, 그냥.
So every time we're playing or like whenever we're scrimming or anything, he actually makes fun of me using Korean, like little bit of Korean that he knows. So that kind of makes me laugh a lot. Alrighty, thank you, tututu, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so moving on to the next question. Gerlock is asking, how do the stresses of competitive play compare between the Overwatch League and other competitions? 자, 게얼록님께서 프로 게이머로서 오버워치 리그와 다른 대회의 차이점은 뭐가 있을까요?
다른 대회랑 현재 오버워치 리그가 차이점이요?
네.
다른 게임이요?
다른 대회요. 뭐
아,
any other competitions.
차이점?
다른 뭐 이런 대회 같은 데에서도 이렇게 팬분들과 교류가 있나요?
네.
아, 있구나.
네. 네.
없습니까? 없으면 넘어가도 됩니다.
없는 것 같아요.
Alrighty, so my answer is no. I honestly can't find any differences as of now, but you will let them know if you do. 자, 그리고 뭐 나중에 뭐 문제점이 뭔가 좀 다른 게 있으면은 꼭 팬분들에게 말씀드렸으면 좋겠습니다.
네.
Alrighty, moving on to the next question. This one is from Cherry. Cherry is asking, what is the biggest thing you have learned from being in the Overwatch League? 체어리님께서 오버워치 리그를 하면서 배운 점 한 가지는 뭐가 있을까요?
배운 점이요?
배운 점이요.
그 오버워치 리그 대회 시작할 때 입장할 때 있잖아요.
Mhm.
빨리 걸어야 될 것 같아요.
Alright, so one crucial thing that I learned being in the Overwatch League is when you're entering the stage, you have to walk faster than we did. Alrighty, thank you, Cherry. Thank you, that was a very good question.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to our next question. Natural Blazer is asking, what hero is your personal favorite to play? Natural Blazer님께서 가장 좋아하시는 히어로는 누구일까요?
오버워치에서요?
네.
가장 좋아하는 히어로는 겐지입니다.
Genji. Okay, so my favorite hero from Overwatch is Genji. Any reasons? 이유라도 한 말씀.
겐지가 너무 그 곤충같이 생겨가지고 저희가 약간 그런 단단한 곤충 같은 걸 좀 좋아해가지고 벌레는 무서워하지만 외관상으로 볼 때는 그런 거 좋아해서 겐지를 선택한 것 같아요.
Right. The reason why I like Genji is he looks like a bug, but this is literal translation, everybody. A bug that has hard shells. So he looks cool, basically. Even though I am afraid of bugs, bugs with hard shield-looking skin is very cool. 맞죠?
네.
네. Alrighty. Thank you, Natural Blazer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on to our next question. Panda Gabe is asking, how hard is it to adjust to American culture, and is there any place in LA that reminds you of home? 이번에 판다 게이브라는 분께서
네.
미국 문화에 적응하기 제일 힘든 것은, 그리고 LA에서 향수병을 일으키는 곳이 있나요? Since this is two questions, again, let's go with the first part, which is American culture. Is there how hard is it to adjust to American culture? 이게 두 개의 질문이 있기 때문에
네.
처음 거부터 할게요. 미국 문화에 적응하기 힘든 것은?
저기 힘든 게 그 집 들어갈 때 신발 신고 들어가는 거.
Okay, so one of the main difficulties or one of the main things that I had to really get myself to adjust was wearing my shoes inside when you're going inside anywhere. Because 왜냐면 한국에서는 제가 알기로 뭐 아시안 쪽에서는 이렇게 신발 다 벗고 가잖아요. 그죠?
네네네 맞아요.
It's because in Asian cultures usually you take off your shoes when you're going indoors. So that was one of the big adjustments. And second part of the question was LA에서 향수병을 일으키는 곳이 있나요?
딱히 향수병을 일으키는 곳은 없는 것 같아요.
Okay. I honestly don't think there's any place that reminds me of home. Alrighty, thank you, Panda Gabe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next question. This one is from crab_spy. Would you rather have Winston's jump pack or be able to primal rage in real life? 자, 이번 건 좀 재밌는 질문이네요.
네.
크랩 스파이 님께서 실제로 가질 수 있다면 두 가지가 있습니다. 윈스턴의 점프팩을 가지시겠습니까? 아니면은 윈스턴의 원시의 분노를 사용할 수 있는 능력을 가져가겠습니까?
원시의 분노를 쓰면은 점프팩을 쓸 수 있는 건가요?
Alright, so this question, Fearless is asking, if I go with Primal Rage, can I use Jump Pack? Because it's included. You know what? No, let's say not. 아니라고 하죠. Let's say if you're going with Primal Rage, it's only Primal Rage. If you're going with Jump Pack, you only get Jump Pack. 자, 둘 중에 하나씩만.
그럼 저는 점프팩을 사용하겠습니다.
I will go with Jump Pack, and the reason is, 이유는?
산 같은 데 올라갈 때나 집 같은 데 올라갈 때 점프해서 올라오고 싶어서.
Alright. I feel like having the jump pack would be easier for me to just go places. Even like I could just shorten the time of me going from point A to point B. Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. The Oddest Prime is asking, what is your favorite voice line in the game? 자, The Oddest Prime님께서
네.
제일 좋아하는 영웅의 음성 대사는?
겐지, 그러니까 백호 겐지의 궁극기 사용할 때 그 나오는 대사입니다.
Oh, okay. So it's actually Genji, and my favorite voice line from Genji is when he uses his ult. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next question. Nagumo Kasumi is asking, did your Chinese teammates teach you some Chinese for daily life, especially Dia? 자, 디아님 같은 중국 팀원들이 평상시에 사용 가능한 중국어를 가르쳐 주셨나요?
평상시에 사용하는 거. 조비엔, 요비엔이라고 왼쪽 오른쪽입니다.
All right. So I did learn how to say Jobian. Sorry guys, I don't speak Chinese, but Jobian.
조비엔.
And it means left and right.
레프트가 조비엔, 라이트 요비엔.
Jobian is left, right is Yobian.
Yes.
I even learned Chinese. Thank you guys so much. All right, thank you, Nagumo Kasumi.
Thank you.
Moving on to our final question of the night. Number 20. It is from Holly W.O. What is your favorite thing about living in America? 홀리 W님께서 미국에서 생활하시면서 제일 좋은 것은?
날씨가 너무 좋은 것 같아요.
Definitely the weather in LA. I love it. Anything else?
네.
그거 말고는 또 좋은 점이 없나요?
좋은 점이 잠자는 곳이 주변이 가장 너무 조용해서 좋아요.
So where I'm staying, it's actually really quiet during the night, so it's really easy for me to fall asleep and I just love the atmosphere. Alrighty, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for sending all the questions. Fearless님 가시기 전에 팬분들에게 하실 말씀 있으시면 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
저희 상하이가 아직 경기에서 승리를 거두지 못했는데 앞으로 저희가 더 많이 발전할 것이니까 응원 많이 해주세요, 여러분들. 지금까지 응원 많이 해주셨던 분들께 정말 감사합니다.
All right, first of all, I know that we haven't won a lot of matches, but we're practicing a lot, and all of your support and all of your love that you send us to Shanghai Dragons is really affecting us. So thank you guys so much for all the love and support, and keep supporting us because we're trying our best to give out better results. Thank you guys so much. My name was Danny Lim. I was your translator, sorry, and this was.
네?
자, 이름 한 번 더 말씀해 주세요.
이의석입니다.
I am 이이석.
Yes.
Name Fearless, right?
My name is Fearless.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.